It is 8:02 a.m. on Saturday,
And OU still sucks.
October 7th, 2023. And OU still sucks.
Sorry.
We could say it 100 times over the next
All
2.5
day long.
hours. We do not care. What is up, YouTube? Welcome in to the official Texas Sports Unfiltered pregame show live from the State Fair of Texas. We are getting set for the Red River Shootout. The third-ranked Texas Longhorns, the 12th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners, the biggest Texas OU matchup since 2008. And we are less than 3 hours away from kickoff at the Cotton Bowl right here on the fairgrounds. We appreciate all of you tuning in today. We will be broadcasting live until 10:30 right here on Texas Sports Unfiltered and on the free Texas Sports Unfiltered app. If you are at the State Fair or making your way to the State Fair, we are broadcasting live from the Old Mill Inn right by Big Tex. We can see the Cotton Bowl. Boy, Big Tex is looking big this year, and he's looking terrifying this year. But that's where we are. So come through, come see us. We've got koozies. We've got some other trinkets to give away for y'all. And we're getting you set once again for the biggest game of the year. I am BK Brad Kellner. We'll have a little roundtable today with rotating casts of characters joining us throughout the 2.5 hours. But right now to start, we've got Bucky Godbolt here. We have got Trey Elling here. Fellas, Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Yes.
Texas OU is officially upon us, and a little brisk breeze this morning. Not used to this here at the State Fair, but feels good. And, Buck, we are set for what should be a great game between these two heated rivals.
Well, this is a great opportunity for both teams, really, when you look at it. But what a great opportunity and great fanfare this is when you get state of Oklahoma and the state of Texas together for a football game like this. And once a year, we're generally treated to something very, very special. And hopefully today will be the same with a Longhorn victory, though.
That's what we need. Trey, you've been to more than 30 of these Texas OU games. Your thoughts on this one, man? This one does feel a little bit different. The fact that both of these teams are undefeated, with the fact that both of these teams are ranked in the top 12 of the country, the fact that both of these teams kind of have college football playoff aspirations this season. This one seemingly has a little bit more juice than some of the ones we've seen in the last 12 years.
Yeah, it's not every year we get a top 12 matchup, and that's what this is right now, even if we're not totally sure about Oklahoma. This is a very open year in college football. So, yeah, even Oklahoma has a chance, in part because their schedule has been and really is pretty easy other than this game. So if they can figure out a way to upset the Longhorns, because they are nearly touchdown dogs right now, then the opportunity is in front of them as well. And, guys, I just got to say, I've had the opportunity to work in a lot of cool office spaces throughout my life. This may be number one for me right now with Big Tex off to our left. You have Funnel Cake Factory in front of us, the Fletcher's Corn Dog Place right around the corner. We had corn dogs and beers for breakfast today. It is truly the State Fair breakfast of champions.
Oh, this is as good as it gets.
I offered Bucky my corn dog, and he continues to deny. I'm very disappointed. I'm very hurt by that.
Did not want to fondle your corn dog. No, I'm not putting my hands on your dog whatsoever. You eat that all to yourself. You have that little red rocket all to yourself with tons of mustard.
Oh, there was mustard just spooging all over the place.
Spooging all over, yes. Thank you very much.
Splooging all over the place. Did you get your Philly cheesesteak, Buck?
No, I did not. I have not messed with that.
You haven't found it because they don't sell it anymore.
I think there's generally one little stand just for me. The one lonely guy who comes and buys a Philly cheesesteak at the Texas State Fair. I do remember where it's located. I may have to make that trip when Mike Hardge comes by. But other than that, this is such a great setting. It really is. And a wonderful day. I mean, we've been here when it's been 100 degrees almost at this time of day. And we've been here when it's been in the 30s at times, when guys like you come in with your muscle shirt on there, Trey, and, show out those guns. It's cool today. This is going to be a great day for a football game, really is.
Well, it's going to end up perfect, guys, because it's going to be upper 60s, low 70s, either at the start of the game or shortly after. It's partly cloudy right now, even if it's completely sunny by game time. These are ideal conditions because we have all been to this game when it's been too hot or too cold. Today it is going to be perfect, and hopefully we get something close to a perfect performance out of this Longhorn football team. They have been playing good complementary football after all.
Yes, they have. as we get our first boomer from some
Love it.
OU fans who couldn't get into Texas. Apologies.
Sorry about that.
Guys.
But you could work at the State Fair of Texas.
Yeah. They're looking for carnies for next year, guys, if y'all are trying to apply for a new job. Boy, I'm going to get into a fight today, aren't I?
Yeah.
57 degrees right now in Dallas. I'm looking at the always trustworthy Apple weather app.
Oh,
And I'm seeing 63 degrees at kickoff at 11 o'clock.
63. I feel ripped off now. Now I'm regretting my decision to go short sleeves today.
Yeah, and then by 2 o'clock when the game should be, well, probably in the second quarter with the Big 12 refs that we're going to have today, it'll get up to about 71, 72 degrees today. So, yeah, it's going to be perfect for the players, for the coaches, for the fans, for everybody making their way to the Cotton Bowl today. All right, guys, let's obviously dive into the game. We've got 2.5 hours to do this, but Trey, you mentioned it, complimentary football. This Texas team is playing at an extremely high level right now. Of course, 5-0 on the season, 2-0 in the Big 12. Everybody talks about the Bama game, and of course you should. That's the biggest win of the year for Texas. That's the biggest win in a while for the Texas football program. But it really feels like, Trey, the last two games, the game in Waco and then the game last week against Kansas, this team has really put it all together, and they're kind of firing on all cylinders right now.
Yes, they are, and it starts with a defense that will occasionally give up the big play, but they are a gritty bunch. They will typically bounce back and force a 3-and-out. They also have done a great job of forcing turnovers after big plays too, and they really do grind down an offense and force short possessions that then gets that Longhorn offense on the field. And even though Texas hasn't been perfect on offense this year, still struggling to get into the end zone when they get to the red zone, this offense does still sustain drives, and they wear defenses down to where you expect at some point in the game, even if in the second half, a Texas offense to really hit their rhythm, find some deep shots, and continue sustaining drives to where you see these defenses pretty much giving up at the end of the third quarter or into the fourth quarter, much like what happened with Kansas last week. Now, I know part of that was the Kansas defense having to go back on the field pretty quickly, but there was a give-up moment last weekend that I wasn't sure we would see out of Kansas until later in the fourth quarter.
Buck, what about you, man? What gives you confidence with this Texas team going into this game today?
Well, the fact that they've found their run game. They've run the ball really, really well over the last couple of games. Actually, they found their way about 3 games ago when they just started to really run the football. It's just been really effective now, and I think this is a team that can start out quickly with the run game. I think they can, do some good things against this OU defense. That the front seven, they're okay. I mean, for the competition that they've played against, they've kind of dominated some of the competition, with the exception of that Cincinnati team that they played. But other than that, they've kind of dominated the competition, which they definitely should have. But this Texas run game is hitting full throttle right now, midway in the season, and I believe it's only going to get better as this offensive line starts to really put themselves out there against defenses. And they are strong, they're physical, they're tough in the fourth quarter. But now it's time for them to be tough in those opening drives and in the scoring zone where they need to score some rushing TDs. When they get down in the scoring zone, don't have to pass the ball, don't have to be tricky, but just, put their will on this Oklahoma defense and run the ball in, I hope.
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks, forget just the Big 12 Conference. He's been one of the best running backs in the country, especially over the last 3 weeks. In the last 3 games, Jonathan Brooks has 488 rushing yards. That leads all Power 5 running backs. He also leads all Power 5 running backs in yards after contact in that stretch as well. He's breaking 6 tackles a game. So is he Bijan Robinson? No, but we have seen this Texas run game really evolve over the last few weeks. And since Jonathan Brooks got inserted into the starting lineup, he has been, once again, one of the best tailbacks in all of college football. And yeah, I feel like Texas did a really good job the last couple of weeks of establishing the ground game early, right? It felt throughout the non-con games. Steve Sarkisian was kind of passing to set up the run. He was trying to get Quinn Ewers in a rhythm early on versus trying to establish the ground game. And then things have kind of switched to where, it's been the Jonathan Brooks show early in these ball games, Buck. And it's really working because this Texas offense has been getting out to some hot starts.
Yeah,
and I think we'll also see C.J. Baxter today. I mean, this is, for a young guy, this is his opportunity in a game like this. And, you want to have a real coming out game. I think this will be it for him. There's generally a star is born in this football game, and goats are made in this football game. I think C.J. Baxter has an opportunity to be a star in this football game.
Are we seeing this?
Wow.
We've got an
impressive.
What is that? A Vivo chain? Is that inflatable? What is that? A Bluetooth speaker.
Whoa.
Very nice.
Longhorn head. This guy also has a foam finger.
Charlie Stronghand.
No,
That
Charlie
crazy
Strong.
finger.
Charlie Strong's finger is way bigger than that thing. I mean, this is a get up right here. This dude
Love
deserves it. You need a koozie, sir? If anyone has earned a koozie
Yeah.
today,
Wow.
it is you. This
Actually,
is
bring him into the shot, please. We
Yeah.
need to bring this guy into the shot for a second.
hey, we need you, sir, behind this very serious barricade that we have here. No one else is going to find their way around this, I'm sure. This is scaring everybody off. I want y'all who are watching on the YouTube right now to see what our man
Look at
is
this guy.
rocking.
What up,
There,
man?
there he is. What's up, brother? All right, so this is a Bluetooth speaker right here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you make okay? It's a Bluetooth speaker
Wow.
under the Longhorn head. I was like, that's still pretty badass right there. Man, the Bluetooth speaker, he's got signed towel, he's got the socks, he's got the burnt orange shoes, he's got the golden hat, signed by some Longhorn players, the burnt orange beard, unless that's your natural color, a couple of shooting sleeves going on. I mean, this dude is to the nines.
He's ready.
Talk about your Sunday best. This is your Saturday best here at the Red River Shootout. But it's the biggest day of the year, so you got to pull out all of the stops. Thank you for stopping by, sir. Appreciate you, man. The people watching today. I mean, it is not even 8:15, right? We're still 2 hours and 47 minutes away from kickoff, and this place is already filling up, man, and they're going to be packing them in like sardines here. This day is special. Chip calls it the Mardi Gras for the state of Texas. You can call it Christmas. You can call it Hanukkah. You can call it Kwanzaa, whatever
It's
you
everything
celebrate.
today.
It is all of the best things in one today. All right, guys, so last year's game. I made sure some OU fans were walking by when I brought up last year's game. 49-0. I don't think anybody expects this, but what went right, Trey, for Texas last year that you think maybe could translate to this year's game?
I think the offense getting into a rhythm relatively early can happen this game, in part because of what you guys just talked about with establishing the run with Jonathan Brooks. But this is an offense that went 3 and out last year, their very first drive. And after that, it was a lot more successes than failures. And they put a hurting on OU to the point where by halftime, this felt like it wasn't really much of a game anymore. And, well, most of us experienced that UTSD from a couple years ago where Texas is up 21-7. They end up blowing that game. It didn't feel like that same thing was going to happen, in part because OU was so bad offensively last year. And that's the biggest difference, obviously, between the OU teams from last year and this year is they are much more competent on both sides of the ball. But Dylan Gabriel is a different player from the tight ends / backup snappers that they had running quarterback for them last year.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a first-year team, with Coach Venables that just had not had any depth to it whatsoever at the quarterback position, the running back position, you name it, the wide receiver position, defensive line. They had nobody last year, and they had a poor season. And now going into year number 2, I mean, he hits the transfer portal, brings in a couple new guys, and now he's trying to establish his culture, or what's going to be the culture of Oklahoma in year number 2. I don't think you will see a 49-0 football game today.
No.
I think there'll be some scores in this game. I think Oklahoma will score in this game. It's just, do they have the depth and do they have the talent of a Texas team that looks like a number 3 team in the nation, not like a team that just, breaking the top 10, but look like a legitimate number 3 team.
Oklahoma had 39 passing yards in the game last year.
Oh, my gosh.
Dylan Gabriel's going to have that by the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
I think. Like, as good as this Texas defense is, and I think this Texas defense is one of the best in college football. Dylan Gabriel is solid. He's playing at a really, really good level right now. He's top 5 in Heisman odds right now in Vegas. He is a massive, massive upgrade over Davis Bell. I mean, whoever the hell gave that dude a scholarship at Oklahoma. I was downtown at the bars last night in Dallas because, of course, I was chopping up with some OU people. And I just kept asking him that question. Who gave that dude a scholarship? Like, why was he the quarterback
made his parents very, very happy
at the University of Oklahoma? Well, they didn't deserve it, although I enjoyed it. So maybe I am glad he had a scholarship. But, yeah, I mean, they had him. They had Braden Willis, the converted tight end, trying to play quarterback. I mean, you kind of had a sense that, oh, there it is. There's a horns down from like a 5-year-old. I haven't seen one of those today. Thank you very much. 6?
She just told us to F off.
7?
Too.
No, she said I'm not 5. How old? 6? 7? 7. I'm so
She's
sorry.
7, sorry.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for not shooting us the bird, because I have gotten the bird from some 4- and 5-year-old Oklahoma fans over the years.
Yeah,
So
no doubt about it.
I will take the horns down over the middle
She
finger.
is 7 years old, and it's good that we didn't see her mom, who is 9.
9.
Yes, that's happened to me the last time I was here.
Yeah.
Having an opportunity to do a show.
There was
like
a
this.
9-year-old mom and a 7-year-old kid. How does that work?
That's how it goes in Oklahoma
I know.
sometimes.
There are all sorts of Oklahoma jokes that we're going to make over the next few hours, but that is one that just doesn't make any
I'm
sense.
telling you, the kid came, shot the bird at me, and I said, I'm going to tell your mom. And she said, I am his mom. And she was 9. I'm like, wow, things are different in Oklahoma.
I don't quite know how that works. What about Quinn Ewers, guys? I mean, look, he broke out in the first quarter of the Alabama game last year. There we go. There's a Longhorn fan right there getting ready. He obviously broke out in the first quarter of the Alabama game, was spectacular against Nick Saban's defense. He breaks the collarbone. He has to miss the rest of that one, has to miss the next couple of weeks. So it really felt like Quinn Ewers' breakout game at the University of Texas was the Red River Shootout last year. 21 of 31, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air. He was a big part of why Texas just had no problem with Oklahoma last year. What's the confidence in Quinn Ewers? Buck, I'll start with you on this one. Look, he's off to a great start. He's only thrown 1 interception. Now, it did come last week, but he has played smart, sound football. In the last couple of weeks, we've really seen that consistency from him that I think most Texas fans have been looking for. It sure feels like Quinn Ewers is playing his best football
Well,
right
I think
now.
what you're watching is a very mature quarterback right now, and his maturity is showing. You know, I mean, he's worked hard at it. I mean, he's worked hard at his game. If you watch his footwork game by game, I mean, I constantly look at how his feet are, whether it's the first series or the last series in the football game. His footwork has been immaculate lately. It really has. I mean, he's going to have that off time where his footwork's not good, but then he decides to throw to A.D. Mitchell, which is a good thing because A.D. Mitchell catches everything, whether it's off target or not. He makes the catch for Quinn Ewers. But his maturity, I think, has really changed. I think he's become a real team leader. And they look to him not only in the offensive end, but on the defensive end too. If you watch him when he comes off the sideline now, he's involved. He's involved in the football game. He's not the guy who just goes, grabs the phone, talks to his quarterback coach. He's involved with players. And that's what you do as a number 1 quarterback for our top 10 team. And I think we're all seeing that from him. I think we're seeing the maturity level of a guy who's got all kinds of talent. And plus he's such an outstanding runner. I mean, my goodness.
He's somebody that you sleep on a little bit in terms of what he can do with his legs. Just going back to that play against Kansas last weekend, the 29 to 30-yard scamper for a touchdown, Kansas was spying him on that play, and he kind of sucked the linebacker into the linebacker's left before he took off to his left and eventually wound his way up the field for a touchdown. He was on the money to start last week's game, guys. He was on point from the beginning. They were doing a good job of feeding A.D. Mitchell on that very first drive, and even though they weren't having success in the red zone, Quinn Ewers was on point, and Bucky, it does come down to that footwork, and you also love the positive attitude that he has to go along with the physical changes. He is remaining engaged, and last year when things weren't going well for Quinn Ewers, you would see so many shots of him sitting on a bench by himself, seemingly moping. He is not doing that. He is maintaining that positive attitude, and the offense and the team on the whole is feeding on that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a leader throughout. He's not just, as I said, he's not just an offensive leader. He's a defensive leader. Yeah. You know, they depend on this guy, whether he does it with his arm or he does it with his feet now, that he can keep drives alive, and the defense doesn't have to run back out there. And, you know, a game like today in this kind of weather is just perfect for this defense. This is a defense that may be the best fit football team in the nation.
Right.
I mean, depth-wise, they have it. But when it comes to what the staff has done with them, especially the strength and conditioning coach has done with this group, they're guys that don't want out of games. They want to stay in the games. Nobody wants to lose a spot. This team is so talented. You don't want to come off the field. You may lose your spot. I mean, you may not get a chance to come back on the field.
Wally
go
pipped.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's fun to see out of this team. I think you see, you know, you watch teams like Georgia. That's the way they've been playing. Guys don't want to come off the field. They're not. Oh no, I'm just fine, coach. Just leave me be. I'll take a deep breath and I'll be right back in there. And this is a football team that's physically fit and physically ready to play anybody in the nation and play for 4 quarters now too, which is good to see.
That's the biggest difference between this year's Texas and last year's Texas, right? I mean, Texas lost 5 games a season ago, including the bowl game. They were all by 1 score, and it just felt like in nut-cutting time, if you will, Texas fell apart. Like, part of it was on coaching decisions, part of it was just on the players, and in the fourth quarter of close games, it felt like Texas wasn't making the winning plays that were required to win those games. This year, it's different. I mean, this has been one of the best fourth quarter teams in all of college football. We've seen it a few different times this year where they've been able to pull away from teams in the second half, and especially in the fourth quarter of some of these games. That's the strength and conditioning that you talked about, but that's what championship teams do, right? Like, of course, you want to play 60 minutes of good football, But when you have the depth that Texas has, you are able to wear on teams over the course of those 60 minutes. And that is something that Texas didn't have. I think the coaches have gotten better with their in-game adjustments, but I also just think the talent and the depth that this group has is a huge reason why we've seen that kind of 180 in the second half of games this year.
And Trey, you know this, they're just building talent. I mean, this talent pool right now and what Sark and the staff is doing when it comes to recruiting, owning the summertime. I mean, this group they have the majority of their football team by June, and June has been a big year for Sark. And I mean, when you start getting depth like they have right now, it's paramount to have depth going next year when you go into the SEC. But in order to win any kind of championship, in order to have winning seasons, you have to have the kind of depth that they have right now. And as I said, a day like today, guys are not going to win out. You're going to see a lot of guys get a lot of snaps. But the thing about it is when you bring another player in, the players are just as good. You start recruiting this 5-star and 4-star talent. You know, a guy comes out for a blow there, then he comes back in the game. The guy that went in for him is just as good as the guy who went out.
Here's where I want to see decent rotation from Texas. The position groups that I want to see rotations today. The defensive line.
Yep.
Not the linebackers. I don't want to see that much rotation amongst the secondary guys either. I don't need to see Keaton Crawford. I understand he's good coming up against the run, but offenses, are going to identify when he's on the field attacking him through the air. And he is a liability right now through the air. So I don't want to see a heavy rotation at the safety position even necessarily. And on the offensive side of the ball, I don't know if JT Sanders is 75%. Maybe you see more of that third tight end rotating in for him at times, but I don't want to see a ton of rotation on that side of the ball either necessarily. If a guy is tired, he needs to come out, but otherwise your best guys need to be out there today.
Oh, for
the defensive line is so good, including second and even some third team guys, that I think that does help to keep them fresh and keep the pressure on that Oklahoma offensive line. But everybody else needs to play, I don't know, north of 75 to 80% of the snaps. The starters do, that is.
Yeah, the weather won't be a factor today,
right?
I mean, it's going to be a beautiful day here in Dallas.
And their conditioning is going to be that much better, too, because they've been practicing in the heat. And, you know, some people probably understand this, others may not. If you do all of your conditioning in the hot conditions, when it drops down to temperatures like this, you feel like you could play 3 games in a row.
Wow. Yep, that's a good news for Texas. And you talk about the experience. Texas is the more veteran team here. They've got more guys who have played in this game, but also just overall they've got more guys with more college football experience too. And I feel like that plays a huge factor in this game. And that goes to your point, Trey, where, you want to play your starters. Most of the starters that Texas has are upperclassmen, guys who have been a part of Texas OU at least once or twice. And some of these guys have been for the highest of the high and the lowest of the low, right?
Absolutely.
2 years ago, the 28-7 lead, they blew it. They lost. It was heartbreaking. Last year couldn't have gone better for Texas. Experience in this game matters a lot, and I think that goes to your point, Trey, about just wanting to have guys who have been a part of moments and atmospheres like this on the field as often as you can.
And I know Bucky mentioned C.J. Baxter possibly having a big game today, maybe, but I also don't want to see Sark force the issue. Like last week against Kansas, it was still a close game, and he was rotating Baxter in every other series. I don't necessarily like that, especially after Jonathan Brooks has ripped off a big run. Like maybe he needs one series to get a breather, but you want him back in there because he is so effective at running the football, finding those tiny little lanes, making small moves to pick up huge yardage after the fact.
Yeah, but you're going to hear the coach tell you that's why he's like this right now, because of my rotations. I mean, they have a comeback to everybody's comeback. You know, that's how that works. Well, he'll tell you that's why Jonathan Brooks right now has been so successful.
He was also telling me that Jonathan Brooks wasn't the starter at the beginning of the year.
That's exactly right.
So his decision-making with running backs are a little bit suspect, a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's a great opportunity for a lot of players to get in. As I said, there's always a star. You know, if you've been around this game long enough, there's always somebody that you talk about on Monday that, wow, I didn't expect that. And that guy was just shining all over the place. But this team has been consistent. It's not been just one star. Everybody's been a part of the success of Texas right now. And I would think that the same thing for Oklahoma. The success of what they're doing right now too. This still is an undefeated group, no matter who they've played. You know, they haven't lost a game yet.
Right.
They don't know what it's like to lose, and they've got a pretty good leader in Dylan Gabriel. He's a really good, solid quarterback / running back, I believe, and I think he'll have some positive things that'll happen for him today. He's that kind of football player. He's a good quarterback, and with the exception of Quinn Ewers, I don't think there's a better quarterback in this conference. I mean, I would think he's.
Well, if you thought it was Will Howard, you don't anymore after last night.
Jeez.
I mean, obviously, these are the only 2 ranked teams in the Big 12 right now. That might be the case for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You know, with K-State losing as a 12-point favorite in Stillwater last night, I thought K-State was maybe the second best team in this league, but they've already lost a couple of times this year. So, yeah, no, Dillon Gabriel might be the best or the second best quarterback in the conference. Jalen Daniels at Kansas, I think, would have a word about that. But
when he's healthy,
he's
if
banged
he's
up.
healthy.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play today for Kansas against UCF. So, yeah, you might be seeing the two best quarterbacks in the conference on the field today. Dillon Gabriel's numbers are really good, by the way. Almost 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. He's got the 4th highest QBR in college football this season. He's been really, really good. And he was up and down last year. Obviously was injured at a couple of different times, so he missed some time. But this guy has been on a mission this year, and he plays with some flair and he plays with some confidence.
Well, he plays. He's a rough player. He really is. He's a physical player. He wants to be known as that kind of guy. He reminds me a little bit of Baker Mayfield. He'll go out there and he won't slide. He'll go bone to bone with you, and he'll come up jawing at you like, I can't believe you made that tackle on me because I'm just that good. Yeah. I mean, somebody needs to get that shot on him today, that he's going to feel it and feel it throughout the game. And Texas has those type of players that can come out of the secondary. The linebackers are skilled enough that they're not going to go for a lot of his head fakes, his running back / quarterback fakes. And he's going to get popped a couple times, but he's not going to give in. I mean, he's a 4-quarter guy. If he doesn't go off the field, he's a 4-quarter player that will continue to just fight and fight and fight. I mean, I like his attitude. I like the way he plays.
I think that's where Jalen Catalon comes into play.
Yes.
Making the Baker Mayfield comparison. Maybe Jalen Catalon turns into that retaining wall that Baker Mayfield probably still has nightmares about. Perhaps Dillon Gabriel will have nightmares about Jalen Catalon when today is done. Another guy in the secondary that I'm expecting to have a huge game today, guys, Jahdae Barron. He seems to step up, much like his quarterback and really the rest of this team at this point, in the biggest moments. And he has been lights out this year, too. Can't wait to see what Jahdae does against the run and also when defending the pass as well.
I'm going to ask y'all another question so I can take a couple of bites of this corny dog.
There you go.
Now, real quick, is there mustard anywhere, Trey, or am I raw dogging this thing?
You can get Brock to go get mustard that's right over there. But I do recommend the mustard with the Fletcher's corny dog.
No raw dogging.
No raw dogging.
Okay, let me ask y'all this. We don't know if Ryan Watts is going to play. At least I haven't seen anything on Twitter. But the last we heard from Steve Sarkisian on Thursday was that it's a game-time decision.
He's not playing.
I think, most of the people are assuming that we will not see Ryan Watts on this Texas defense this year. So, Trey, you mentioned a couple of players on this Texas secondary. How confident are you in this Texas secondary? The OU passing game has been one of the most efficient in college football. We know the opponents that they've gone up against, the Sisters of the Poor, the School of the Blind, and the Deaf. But those guys have been putting up ridiculous numbers. Dillon Gabriel, I just mentioned them. The receivers are off to a phenomenal start this season. What's your confidence level with this Texas secondary, assuming one of the top corners can't go?
I actually have a little bit more confidence in this Texas secondary in coverage.
Come on.
When Malik Muhammad is in there for Ryan Watts. I think Malik Muhammad is a little bit better in coverage than Ryan Watts has been this season, less prone to letting a wide receiver get behind him. And I think as long as these other guys are doing their jobs and the safeties aren't getting sucked in by play action, I'm confident that Texas defense can slow up what Dillon Gabriel has been so good at this year, not only throwing the deep balls, but also really chewing up the middle of the field. This is where a guy like Jalen Ford is so important, his ability to drop back in coverage, keep his eyes on the quarterback, and also make plays on the football, too. How many times have we seen him drop back and pick a pass off at this point? It feels like 3 or 4 at least. He had the one-hander earlier this year, and he is a guy that makes it very difficult to throw in the middle of the field on this Texas defense.
Yeah, Dillon Gabriel is really confident in his arm, and the thing about it, if he's pressured, he's going to let it loose.
Right.
And that's where guys like, like you said, where Ford comes in, where he's eyeballing the quarterback and eyeballing where that receiver is going to be. And these crossing routes, he tends to step in front. But, dude, he really does a fantastic job of getting balls into tight spots, But the pressure of Texas, I believe, coming up today, will force him to throw those balls that will get picked. BK, he'll take a shot, he'll take a chance, but I mean, he's going to have some success in some of the things that he does, but he will take that chance. He's that type of player.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Oklahoma's run game has not been that good, right? You look at OU's stats for the most part; they're very, very impressive on both offense and defense, but they're 75th in the country in terms of yards per carry, just averaging 4 yards a carry, and they haven't gone up against a front as good as Texas is this season. So
Dillon Gabriel is their run game right now.
He can run. Well, the good news is, look, as good as Dillon Gabriel's been playing, it's the same going up against OU as it is going up against any other team in the country.
Right.
If you can make their offense one-dimensional, if you can take away their straight running back run game then Texas is probably going to win this football game. Like OU cannot just be predictable offensively. They can't be running for 2 to 3 yards a carry and expect to have a chance against this Texas team.
And especially as quick as they run plays.
Yep.
I mean, you're talking about wearing yourself out mentally. It's not so much of physically. If you're running the ball as quick as they are and getting in and out of the huddle and you don't have any success and you're having to punt an awful lot, that just wears on you mentally. It won't do much to you physically because it's going to be such a beautiful day, but it actually will wear on you mentally if you don't continue to move those chains.
Joining us now at the Old Mill Inn on the fairgrounds here in Dallas, Texas, USA, America. A man who I'm sure got a full 8 hours of sleep last night. He went straight back to his hotel.
I don't think so.
After our Friday broadcast at Harwood Tavern downtown, the great Mike Hardball Hardge. What's up, man?
Man, you are correct, BK. Because I was sleepwalking most of the night, bro. Because I had a good time in Dallas, Texas. How can you not? This is a big-time game. This is a big-time party. And everybody wants to win.
Oh, yeah.
Both sides. And they want the bragging rights. You guys were talking about that a little while ago and talking about how much this game means to both sides. But most importantly, because we're representing Texas Sports Unfiltered, we talking about Texas, baby.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. I'm so excited for this game. I've been waiting for it. I couldn't sleep last night. Well, most of that because I was having a good time. But
with Stoney Clark and the boys.
That's a 15-yard penalty right there.
There they go.
Keep doing it. That's 15 yards right there, baby.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
You're allowed to do that.
You're just giving us free yards today, baby. We'll take it. Not that we need it after last year. I think we're okay.
Hey, we're bringing
Get back out there on the fairground and start guessing the weights of people.
You're late for work. You're late for work.
Oh, man. That is awesome. Yeah, no, this weekend is so much fun. I mean, we're 2.5 hours away from kickoff, and this place is filling up, and it helps that the weather is just perfect.
Oh, man, this is perfect for you. I'm still concerned about you guys, though, because y'all come out here in shorts, but a long sleeve shirt. It's like my wife was like talking about my jacket. She was like, is your chest okay? Right. Because it looks like your arms are fine. You know?
Hey, we're going jacket on in public today.
I see it. I love it.
It's dangerous to go jacket off in public now.
So definitely dangerous.
All right.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you guys this because I heard the conversation about Dylan Gabriel, the lack of the running game for Oklahoma. When you look at this game, and I know that we've talked about Jalen Catalon before and what his impact was going to be at this time. But to me, my biggest question for you guys, can they develop a run game at all? Can Oklahoma, is this the game that they develop their run game? We talked about the defensive line for Texas and what they bring every single week, and it's important that they continue to do that. But is this the game that they try to develop a run game?
Dude, if they haven't developed a run game in that god-awful schedule that they've had, they're not going to get it in this game. They're not going to find a run game if the Sisters of the Poor that they've been playing in the beginning of the season, if they haven't found a run game then, they won't find a run game today. Their quarterback is going to get his runs. He finds ways to get his runs, but they don't have a featured running back. They have a guy who will carry 7 times in one game, and then he won't play in the next game. It's just – and generally – and we're used to that. What we're used to is seeing somebody really stand out for OU. I don't care if it's running back / H-back, halfback. There's always some guy.
Yeah, he probably jumps out there from anywhere, right?
Yeah, but it's not going to happen. This is not the day that they find a running game, not against this defense, no.
We have more bodacious posters here at the State Fair of Texas.
They're making it work, man.
How much money is Oregon spending on advertising these days?
No, it's Phil Knight.
Yeah.
Spilling it, it's a Nike campaign.
That Nike money, man.
That's exactly what it is.
There are
It's still from Michael Jordan.
There are Bo Nix posters all over the city of Dallas this weekend. I'm not sure if they realize it's OU and not UO playing in this game this weekend. But, so the good news for Texas is there's a lot of good news, but probably on paper, the biggest mismatch is, the Texas run defense going up against the Oklahoma rushing offense. And, I don't know if the traditional run game is going to work for OU today, right? Texas has allowed the fewest rushing yards per game, yards after contact, yards per carry, and broken tackle rate on runs in the A and B gaps this season. So running into the teeth of this Texas defense, I mean, we figured that was going to be a strength of the Longhorns going into the year with just the talent and experience and depth that they had on the interior D-line. That has come to fruition over these 5 weeks. And once again, for Oklahoma, They've really struggled running the football. The interior of their offensive line is probably a weakness. If the Texas D-line can do what it's done, Oklahoma's not going to be able to run. They're going to have to get creative, and we expect that, right? Teams pull out all the stops. They go deep into their bag for this game. You've got to do something different. You've got to break tendency. I don't know if the traditional run game is going to work for OU, Buck. They might have to switch it up a little bit. More outside zone, but also screen games, jet sweeps, just certain things to try to get their run game going more than it has been.
Yeah, BK, I agree with you on the jet sweeps. Try to get to the perimeter. Nobody's got to the perimeter really that well against Texas this year. They've had some early, last week they had an early run for 26 yards, the first run of the game, then got outside. But then, as I said, they start to reel you in, the Texas defense. They'll let you get away with something, your first series, maybe your second series. But this defense, PK just finds a way. He just starts to bring you in. And I think the same thing will happen today. I expect that you're gonna pull out all the stops. There's gonna be some tricky stuff going on here today.
Right?
And in this game, you have to. I mean, you got to put something on film for a little bit of everybody. These guys have been working on this all week. What will that trick play be?
And who will be the one that breaks it off? Like somebody that may not be a part of it, may be in it, but then all of a sudden you see a guy that you hadn't seen all year. And all of a sudden, boom, he's part of the success. I was talking to Kenneth Sims, lifetime Longhorn, legendary lifetime Longhorn, and college football Hall of Famer. And he was telling me about the defensive line because obviously that's what he played. So anytime I talk to him, that's what I want to understand. I want to understand a little bit more. He said the biggest thing for the Texas Longhorns that he's seen this year is they're not standing up to be dancing bears.
Right.
They're smashing faces. And he said, if you can get a defensive lineman to smash face, that's crazy. That's probably what you was doing last night. You was having a good time last night, BK. But he said, when you can get them to smash face, it changes the entire complexity of that defense because now the linebackers can scrape. They can move from side to side. But he was saying that interior push will be the difference because going back to the offensive line for Oklahoma, he says that they can continue to push them backwards.
Yeah, they should be able to, both in the run and against the pass, too,
yeah, no doubt.
Like, that's where quarterbacks hate pressure the most. If it's coming right in their face. And Dylan Gabriel's 5'10", 5'11", too. Like, he can't see over people. He's at his best, like most quarterbacks are, with the clean pocket. But also, for Texas, the D-line, look, they've got to get push. They've got to play with force, but they also have to play with finesse. They've got to be smart. They've got to be disciplined. They can't lose contain on the edge because if you let Dylan Gabriel step up in the pocket, he's got those clean running lanes. He's going to take off and make you pay a little bit.
Yeah,
no doubt.
And his thought is he wants to pass the ball. He wants to find out if you'll come up. If you'll suck up inside for him, he'll take off and he'll throw the ball over the top of you. He's a passer, so he wants to throw the ball. He really doesn't want to run. But he is a willing runner. That's for sure. He understands that what they have to do in order to win this football game today, they have to keep the chains moving. They can't have a lot of 3 and outs. They can't put it in the hands of Quinn Ewers and this offense. They really can't because this is a Texas team that can ball control you. They can win in a lot of different ways. They got quick strike if they want to. But now that they found their running game, in a game like this today with weather like this, where you can run all day long today. You really can. You can saddle up Jonathan Brooks and just run it down people's guts. And if Texas gets on one of those kind of rolls, it's one of those games the clock's going to move. I mean, you can score it. I mean, you score it in any way you can, but if you have an opportunity to punish somebody with the run and let the clock run and watch their offense stand on the sideline, this is where it could be a long day for Oklahoma.
It's demoralizing.
It very much is.
Yep.
And there are a lot of things I want to see with this Oklahoma team, right? Because once again, 5-0.
Oh, actually, I don't want to see anything.
Yeah. Well, I want to see them look bad.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to see them look fake because, look, I'm not 100% bought into this team. We know they're better than last year. Now, the bar was pretty low, right? It was Oklahoma's worst season in almost 3 decades. So you figured there'd be some improvement with them. But how good is that run defense? Like, Oklahoma is one of 2 teams in college football that has not given up a rushing touchdown this season. It's impressive. It's them and Iowa. OU's run defense has been really stout this year. They're just giving up 3.1 yards a carry. So on paper, that's strength on strength, right? Because the Texas rushing offense has been one of the most effective in college football, especially over the last 3 weeks. But how good is OU's run defense truly? Because last year they couldn't stop Texas on the ground. They couldn't stop Texas anyway.
They couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't stop you or me in a phone.
Exactly. Once again, it was year number 1 for Coach Venables.
I agree.
I agree. This is now he's had a full year to build his culture, to get into the transfer portal, to establish and stabilize some things with the players that he already has had, that he's had to go through a year. That was a tough year for That was a tough year for Oklahoma fans. It was a tough year for alums, administrators there. I mean, they didn't know if they wanted to keep this guy, if this was going to be their guy. And I think that, it takes, we've seen it ourselves at Texas. It takes you a little bit of time. You just don't jump. Cultures just don't jump into what you've done, to what Lincoln Riley had done there.
Right.
And I know they just can't stand Lincoln Riley in Norman anymore. But
What'd you call him?
Tebow.
Yeah. What does that mean?
That bitch out west. That's what OU fans call Lincoln Riley nowadays. So no love lost between those two guys.
No doubt.
And yeah, look, Lincoln Riley obviously walked into a great situation, right? Like Bob Stoops left the cupboard full, and he also kind of walked away late in the offseason. Like he had already gone through the recruiting cycle, and really it just handed the keys to a Porsche over to Lincoln Riley, and there was no drop off at all. But yeah, Lincoln Riley, when he left, he took a bunch of great players with him to USC, namely the quarterback, Caleb Williams. I'm forever grateful to Lincoln Riley for that, because I'm so glad we don't have to see Caleb Williams in this game. But
thank God.
It's taken a little bit of time for Venables
to
get it going. And it kind of feels like they're on the Texas trajectory, guys. Like you think of Sark, year 1, 5-7. Okay, OU a little bit better. They were 6-7.
They went to a bowl.
Went to a bowl game. Obviously, Texas took some steps in year 2.
Yep.
They got better. There was clear progression going on. And that's what you're seeing with Oklahoma right now. I feel like Brent Venables is a year away from having exactly who he wants. Like, the team is so much better this year, and the portal obviously expedites any rebuild right now in college football. But I feel like Texas, just where this roster is right now, Sark said it going into the year. He's got his guys now. And his guys know him. They know the systems. They know what the coaching staff expects from the players. I think Venables is still a year away, which is why I'm really confident. I feel like just Texas's program right now is in a better, healthier spot than OU's.
Yeah, get them while you can get them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Deion said, right? Like, he's like, get me now because I'm building what I want at this moment. And that is what Brent Venables is doing, because the biggest thing for him that very first year, he didn't believe in the transfer portal, because he was coming from that Dabo Sweeney school of thinking.
They only believe in God. They don't believe in the portal.
Exactly. Yep. But now they're sitting there looking at it, and he's saying, okay, I realized last year was awful for us.
Yeah, and he's putting fire hoses in his noses and all that kind of
stuff. No, that's not where he was putting it. Oh, okay. That's not where he was putting it. But now you look at him, and you got to put some respect on his name. Just like Sark said at the press conference earlier this week, he said, Brent, I knew he was going to be able to get this thing turned around. I knew he was going to be able to go out and get the players that he needed to get better. We've seen a huge change in the direction of this program. That's cool. I don't need him to change it all the way today.
No,
I don't need it today. I need them to make sure that everything's still stumbling into next season, because we're going to be walking.
They're playing against
Tulsa
and whoever they played.
Was it not Louisiana Lafayette? Who was the Arkansas State?
Yeah,
Arkansas State.
They put up 70+ against them.
Oh, quickly.
Yeah,
that's why they scored 91 points in the first quarter throughout this season, and that's the only reason why.
Yeah, well, the Oklahoma
offensive
numbers are
Constantine. That's my guy right there. I love that guy.
Come on.
Oh, down.
All right, we brought
the Texas One Fund people are here.
Oh,
right?
there we go.
All
Those
the guys that's
there.
our baseball guys right there.
Come
That's
on.
how you do that thing.
We need them on our side.
There they go.
There we go. Come on.
Yeah.
I'll take some of those tickets.
My man is thirsty.
Come on now.
My man is thirsty.
All right, hey, you brought up the fire hose. I think we've got audio and video of Brent Venables' comments from Big 12 Media Days last year.
It's been just like you would expect. The fire hose is fully inserted in my mouth here, and we've been blowing and going, and so.
We've been blowing and going, Coach.
The fire hose fully inserted into my mouth, and we've been blowing and going here. Just like you would expect. No, I didn't expect that at all. I've never heard anybody say that.
I've never heard anybody say that in my life.
But I like it. Good job.
Very unexpected there, Brent Venables. So, look, like, these are two unbeaten teams. Losing to the number 12 team in the country, there's usually not a lot of shame in that. But y'all talked about it, man. This is Texas's best football team since 2009, right? I think everybody agrees. Even Oklahoma fans agree with that sentiment. Yep. This is not a top 5 OU team since 2009, right? Like, this OU team is good. They've obviously taken steps, but once again, I still feel like they're a year away from really being back to the Oklahoma that has been so dominant over the course of the Big 12. It would be really disappointing to lose this game when we feel as great as we do about our guys this year, and they still have as many questions as they do up there. Like, there's no such thing as a must win. Texas can lose. They can run the table. They can win the rematch potentially in Arlington and still make it to the playoff. But it would be kind of demoralizing, guys, if Texas can't win, considering how good we feel about this team, and once again, where Oklahoma has been as a program.
Well,
Can I take a moment for a second? Hodo. Douglas Hodo III. The man, the myth, the legend. They are here, bro. Douglas Hodo III is in the house. Pete Hansen is in the house.
Let's go.
These are the guys that are ballers in the baseball world. I love those guys.
Texas baseball team.
That's right.
Come on now.
That's right.
Shout out. Hey, if y'all want to get on a headset now, they're drinking beer.
They're drinking beer.
Yeah, they're having a good time.
We don't want to talk.
They don't have time for
No,
us.
it's the off season right now. They don't need to be doing any work.
They are
right
on the
now.
fairgrounds to have a fair time.
Absolutely. That's what we'll all be doing. Hell, we already are doing that here. Gotta
Sorry about that, guys. We just never know what's going to happen around us.
Come on. That's the best. This is as good as it gets, right?
No doubt.
The people watching. This is the best people watching day of the year, and this place is starting to fill up. But Buck, yeah, your thoughts on what I said, right? Where Texas is right now, what we feel like this team is capable of doing. It feels like it'd be crushing if they can't find a way to get this job done today.
Vincent!
Yeah.
baby!
Well, the way they would do it is if they would turn the ball over, if they would just give the ball away today. You can't just do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't just give people the ball. And in this particular game, your opportunities are going to be many. There are a lot of things that will happen in there. The emotions will change. Things will go up and down. But BK, if you turn the ball over in this game, your fates can really change. You can lose a football game today. One turnover can cost you. But as I said, the emotions will flow up and down, and there'll be some great opportunities for both teams, I believe, today. But Texas needs to take advantage of the ones that they get. As I said, get in the scoring zone and score touchdowns and not field goals, not have your guy have to come out and kick today.
How about VY walking by?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't you get him on the show, Hardge?
Well, he busy.
We're busy.
Yeah, but he got things going
We're
on
working
man.
right now.
He got things.
What do you mean?
Vincent has things to do today.
Yeah, he does. He's pretty important around these parts, I would think. But yeah,
for sure.
You talk about heroes, man. Obviously, a Longhorn legend and a guy who made a name for himself in this game, especially.
But he will be on Texas Sports Unfiltered this week, so don't worry about that.
There you go.
Is that right?
You got it.
All right, come on now. Hey, nobody gives you guests like Texas Sports Unfiltered, right? Earl Campbell, Ricky Williams, Derek Johnson, Quan Cosby.
That's what we do.
Michael Griffin.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody gets more Longhorn legends per capita, whatever the hell that means.
Well, we're going to take them numbers and make them bigger.
That's what we do. That is what we do right here.
The algorithms.
The algorithms.
I still don't know what that word means.
I learned that the other day.
But we're working on it. Hey, if you want to chime in, you can hit us up on the CODA text line, 512-222-9328. That's right. Our text line is sponsored by Circuit of the Americas. We thank them for their great partnership with us at TSU.
They got a big race coming up here shortly.
Oh, come on, F1 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. How excited are you?
I'm excited. I'm even more excited that NASCAR boogity 2024 Let's Go Racing comes back to CODA.
Yes,
once
it
again.
does.
The NASCAR racing. By the way, BK, I want to thank our travel partners.
Yes.
Austin Duck Adventures, Ride Splash Quack.
There it is.
Comanche Concrete, our guys over at Comanche Concrete, and your favorite and my favorite, Hayes City Store, and your favorite, Hardge.
That's
Hayes
right.
City Store. Thank you to all of our travel partners getting us up here this week. We appreciate the Covert family as always and what they've done for us. And those Longhorns out there know the Covert family since 1909. They've been serving Central Texas and doing a great job at it, as a matter of fact.
Yep, and the Coverts aren't getting their rental car back, I can tell you that.
They're not. Yeah, you found comfort in that, right?
What are you saying over there? I can't hear you.
You said tooth missing.
What a chant, huh? One side of the section or one side of the stadium yells tooth, the other side yells missing.
Yeah, that'll be perfect.
That's what they do over there. Oh, man. Yeah, it is a beautiful day here in Dallas. And, yeah, many thanks to our travel partners for getting us up here. Had a fun time yesterday. Shout out to everybody who made their way to Harwood Tavern in downtown
what a good time
Dallas.
that was.
Great turnout. That place was packed. Had a ton of fun. Great drinks, great food. Shout out to them for hosting, and shout out to y'all for stopping by. And once again, if you are here, we're at the Old Mill Inn. If you're listening on the app, driving into the fair, if you're watching us on YouTube and you're going to make your way here to the fairgrounds this morning, make sure you stop by at the Old Mill Inn right by Big Tex. That guy is huge. Hopefully he does not catch on fire this year.
I was walking around yesterday. I was like, how am I not finding Big Tex? And then boom,
Yeah.
there he is right in front of me, man.
He just hits you, man. Now, if that guy falls, Buck, does it sound like a sack of shit?
Falling off a table?
Yeah. What happens if Big Tex goes
That's
down?
not going to sound like a sack of shit. That's going to sound very different. You're going to hear people screaming at the same time.
That's showing up on the Richter scale if something happens to Big Tex.
You're going to hear screaming and yelling.
Oh, man. Not today. That better not happen today. So, Buck, you talked about it, man. I mean, Texas has been playing really smart, sound, disciplined football. They're one of the least penalized teams in the country. I think the most penalties they have in a game this year is 6, and that was in the Wyoming game, which obviously the Longhorns were able to take care of business and run away in the fourth quarter. Only 2 turnovers. I beg your pardon. We've got 4 turnovers, 2 of them on special teams, only 2 on offense, right?
Right.
Ewers threw the pick last week. Jaden Blue had the fumble at the end of the Wyoming game, I think it was. But for the most part, like, here's where I'm at with this game. I just think Texas is better than Oklahoma. I feel like if Texas plays its best football and they don't shoot themselves in the foot, they are going to win this game, and I think they're going to win this game by double digits.
Very fair.
That's what it takes. But in this game, it's a little bit harder to do with just the atmosphere and everything that goes into Texas OU. It's easier said than done to play that smart, sensible brand of football that we've seen from Texas.
Well, I think if you're smart and you execute, and because you're going to have emotions, everybody's going to be emotional today.
Oh, it's going to be turned up.
There'll be guys that haven't played in this game, haven't been in this game. There'll be guys on the sideline that won't understand that things will happen in the game, but you have to continue on. You have to execute the plays. You have to execute what your coaches have talked about, because things can change in a hurry here. And if you let your emotions just kind of go with the flow, you'll screw the whole thing up.
Yep.
You really will. You'll screw up the game plan, but just go with the game plan, go with the flow, let the emotions happen. They're not going to carry the emotions, not going to carry you throughout the football game. That stuff's going to come to an end somewhere in the middle of the first quarter sometime, a couple series in, and that emotions is just going to be you looking up in the stands, looking around a little bit, but then getting your eyes and your ears focused back to what's going on the field. I always said this was the game that, for players, I said, I know your mom and dad are over there in Section C and your girlfriend's in Section C with them, but don't get caught looking up there, and while you're standing around a pile, somebody comes in and ear holes you because you're not paying attention to what's going on. This is a football game that's played to the echo of the whistle and past that.
Yep.
I mean, it even goes past the echo of the whistle. And if you're standing around a pile, watch the guys that get wiped out of piles today. It is amazing. The guys that stand around there end up on the ground because they're looking up. Oh, there's my sister's over there. I remember what row mom said they were going to be in, and guys are standing around that pile, and somebody ear holes them. So you really got to be careful in this football game because you will get popped here.
I love what you said about the emotion of it, right? Because that is what we create as sitting in the bleachers,
right,
and being a part of it. But you got to make sure your heart rate is at the right place.
Sure.
And I'm sure that all those coaches have been talking about it all week on both sides. I no doubt expect an unsportsmanlike penalty because of what you said. Somebody's going to get their clock clean, and it's not going to be pretty. And then you're going to have both sides going at each other. But at the end of it all, you got to settle it down. You have to be calm. You have to be cool, and you got to be collected. Buck, you've coached in this game. When you're walking through that tunnel and everything that's going on, when that locker room speech from each coach, do you have to go to your particular group and say, play controlled football?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those deals where you see coaches gather their own players, and away from the head coach talking, you have to talk to them and talk about the things that you go through all week with them, and making sure that you don't let them get their emotions to the point where they don't execute. They get way past what you've taught them. They go into their own little world. You got to stay within the box today. You really do. Now, I always say there's somebody, a star is born in this football game, but I'll tell you this. You don't want to be the GOAT in this game either. You can be a star, but you definitely don't want to be a GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Well, Sark said it earlier this week. You want to play with emotion, but you don't want to be emotional. Hold on, Hardge. This is your boy. I want you talking to Norm. Come on. Get on here.
Norman, how are you, my friend?
Man, I am good, Coach.
It is so good to see you.
Likewise. Good to see you, brother.
Norman Watkins.
Joining us now. Norman Watkins. He's number 1 in your heart and number 1 on your scorecard. But most importantly, Norm, you've played in this game. You had a lot of motion in this game.
Man.
You've made one of the iconic plays in this game. What is it all about being able to walk in that locker room pregame and really sit there and talk about what you're about to do? It's the focus. It's the mental aspect of it. And now you get a chance to watch some of these young players do what you was able to do in this game.
Man, Hardge, so many emotions, so many feelings. I still get my hair raised up. I think this.
Wait, man! You ain't even got no hair, dog.
on my arm. I seriously think this is the best rivalry in college football. I know you have Michigan and Ohio State and some other good games, but I tell you what, if you see this experience, 100,000 people in the stadium, 100,000 people outside here just walking around, college football at its best. In regards to your question, man, the most physical team is going to go out and win this game. Throw out the record books, throw out the, a lot of times whoever's ranked the highest usually ends up winning the game. Usually ends up losing the game. So it's about these kids know each other. Most of these kids, 90% of these kids are coming out of the state of Texas anyway. So they've been playing against each other since Pee Wee, Pop Warner, and high school and so forth. So whoever goes out there and executes in the trenches, I think will really win this game.
Norman, I was saying earlier in the week that it's a different type of ball game because this is a game that, when you're up at the Metroplex, a lot of mom and dad and the girlfriends, the sisters, the uncles, everybody, they gather at the hotel. It's a really strange time for coaches that coach in this football game because they're always panicky about, are you focused? Are you ready?
Yeah.
The night before at a hotel, when the parents are coming to visit their players, and what coaches, we want you 100% about us, focus on us. But you've got to worry about tickets. You've got to worry about, hey, where are you going to be sitting? I want to make sure I wave to you up in the stands and stuff. And so it's hard. It's a difficult game itself, but it's difficult the surroundings of it when you have relatives at your game. Not every relative gets to every game, but this particular game, they're all here.
Right.
They've been a part of going to the hotel. They've been a part of talking to you this week. They've been a part of getting an extra ticket. We need an extra 5 tickets. We need an extra 4 tickets. Grandma decided she wants to come.
Right.
We weren't thinking Grandma was coming, but now she's coming. She's bringing her neighbor. It's a lot goes into it for a player. Now, coaches, we don't care about it. No coaches care about that. We just want you focus on what we've been talking about.
Absolutely. You guys aren't thinking about the corny dogs and all the other stuff that's going on right now.
No. We're not thinking about the kids that have to decide that they're going to go home with their parents because there's no game next week.
Right.
And you know how that can be.
Yes, sir.
Trying to get to your coach and tell him, hey, listen, I'm going home with my folks. You're not getting back on the bus with us. Coaches want to coach in the game. They don't want to do the family thing.
Right.
They care less. But then you have to focus back on everything that they've said.
Well, to your point, Coach, the biggest thing that the game is won before this game is played. So when they start game planning on Monday after that last game we just played, you start thinking about the game, you celebrate that win, but come Monday, even Sunday, come Monday, really, you put together that game plan, you work. Those Tuesday and Wednesday practices are pretty tough, but really the game day preparation starts at the first part of the week. And whoever prepares for this game best, and that's what I love about this Texas team. Sark seems to get up for these big games, and we're going to see some things that we haven't seen, right? And I think we're going to see some really, really exotic things. We're going to do some things a little different, but more importantly, we're going to be physical.
Oh, yeah, you got to be. This is, as we said before, if you get caught standing around a pile today,
yes, sir,
you're going to catch one.
In the ear. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
And punters and kickers included.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody's included.
Everybody.
Take no prisoners.
Take no prisoners.
We're talking a lifetime Longhorn. My man Norman Watkins. We were kicking it last night. We were talking about this game.
Yes.
You were really excited about it.
Yes.
You've been really enjoying what you've seen from this football team early in the season.
Yes.
What is going to be the key moment in this game? I know there's going to be one, maybe two situations that are going to end up happening, but when you're watching this game, what is something that is going to stand out to you that's going to make a big difference in this game?
I'll tell you this, and you as a coach, this, Coach. One of the things I saw even in the Alabama game that I really, really liked, I went to Tuscaloosa and watched our team, the body language. So the things that you watch, especially as a player and a coach, that you see now as a fan now, I watch just the body language, the soft skills. Hey, we're going to go out here. I never thought in that Alabama game, for example, that I never thought that we were going to lose that game. Just seeing those offensive, defensive linemen and all the people. And so that's the thing that I love about this team. We get better each week.
Yeah, I think
we get better each week.
I know we're going to continue to see that because with the coaching staff that everybody's coming back. You don't have coaches leaving. Sark has kept the majority of his coaches so far since he's got here. You're going to see that. You're going to see that type of that confidence throughout. And Oklahoma's just starting to feel that themselves. They're going in just year number 2. So they're going to be this will be a different Oklahoma team than we saw last year. This is not a 49-0 type of team.
That's exactly right.
They've had to get a little bit better. They have to. They're trying to build a culture there too. The players have been around for another year. and they're going to be. It's going to be different. It really will. It will be today. Now that doesn't mean that they can't get beat and get beat down.
Right.
But I don't expect to see a game where it's 49-0. I expect to see a really good football game today. But the better team, I think, is Texas. The depth is there.
Yes.
The coaches have been with each other for quite a while now. They've done incredibly well in the recruiting aspect of all the things that you have to do to build a championship program. This is a championship football team that Texas has right now. This is not just a championship team to go to the Big 12 and win that. I mean, they've got to go. I mean, people will be very disappointed if they don't win the Big 12 championship on the way out. This is a team that can play in that Final Four. This is the kind of team that you built for. As Sark says, they started to look like I thought they should look like now. Right. He's been around good football teams.
No doubt. And that was something that I wanted to ask both of you guys. You guys have played the game at a very high level. You guys have seen this game in every situation that is going into it. When you look at this Texas football team, this is a team that is built deep. Yes. Because in order to win games, you have to have depth.
Right.
And because, Ryan Watts may not play today.
Right.
But you're not worried about it.
That's right.
To be quite honest with you.
That's right.
In the secondary, he's one of the top players that Texas has had since he came in from Ohio State. Well, now you're looking at it, and you got Malik Muhammad. You got a Terrence Brooks. You've got guys that have provided some depth and really some toughness, because that's the one thing that I've seen. They've been rotating guys in all year.
Sure.
This isn't a game that they were just going to be thrown in, especially in these big moments.
The turnover battle, right, is going to be critical in a game like this. It's a game of inches. The turnover battle is going to be critical, right? And whoever wins that turnover battle has a really, really good chance of winning this game.
Yeah,
this coach.
And, of course, the team that rushes the ball.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
18 out of 20.
Yes, sir.
The leading rusher.
Let's not get cruel. We got to run the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no.
We got to run the ball, especially with them big dogs that we got in the offensive line.
You got some offensive linemen. They're fantastic. You got some running backs. They're absolutely amazing. And one of the best runners in the nation right now resides at the University of Texas, and Jonathan Brooks. He's not just one of the best. He's the best running back in the Big 12.
Yes.
But he's one of the best running backs in the nation right now.
Yes.
And he's proven it week to week, which this offensive line is helping him prove that, which I like an awful lot about this football team, because at any time they can run the ball, they can control the clock, and they can execute their run game. So it's for Oklahoma, they're still, and Norman, you've been in this game a couple times.
Yes.
There's always a running back at Oklahoma. They don't have that right now. They're still they're still trying to find their way.
Right.
Their best running back is their quarterback.
That's right.
And if they're going to make that guy their running back, it's a long day for him.
Well, you know what they're going to do is try to go over the top on us.
Sure.
They're going to test our safeties, right? They're, as far as running the ball against us, good luck.
Yeah.
Right. Good luck.
Right.
But listen, I've seen a number of games Oklahoma's played. They're significantly better, to you guys' point, right? They're a different team than what they had last year, a number of transfers. So I'm expecting a good competitive game.
Absolutely.
But listen, I'm going to tell you something. If we go out there and execute and start fast, it's going to be one of those games, right?
Could be.
Yeah.
It could
It's going to be one of those
sure.
games, guys.
It could be for sure. So, Norm, I know you got a lot of things you're going to be doing around this fairground.
Yes.
Did you get you a Fletcher's Corny Dog? I know you got you a brew, but did you go get you a Fletcher's Corny Dog? Are you trying some of the fried food? Because remember, when you were a player, you didn't get to experience any of this.
Yeah. So let me tell you something. I've been watching everybody. I've been here since 7:45 this morning, right? Watching everybody get those corny dogs. I'm trying to watch my waistline right now.
This is not the week for that.
I know.
This is not the weekend for that.
I'm on a different diet right now, guys. But I'll say this.
Liquid? Is it a liquid diet?
It is right now.
I saw it last night.
But I will tell you this. I will have to get a corny dog at some point today. Just not right now.
It is always good to see you, man.
Man, I appreciate you guys, man. I love you. And I'm going to be touching base with you here soon.
Please do.
Hardge, my number one man. Can I get a picture with these guys real quick? Hold on.
Get one.
You guys don't mind if I get a picture with my family, right? So this is family. Coach Bucky coached me, by the way. He was our running backs coach, and I love this guy.
Hey, we don't have to stop talking while you're taking pictures.
Come on now. Come on now.
It's good to see you, baby.
That's my guy. Norman Watkins, baby. We had a good time last night. That's why I had to leave him. I had to leave him so I could make it to work today.
Yeah, that's right. Tell Norman we're working.
I had to make sure that we made it to work today. And Uber is great.
That's right.
So, Buck, I'm sitting here thinking about this right now. Like, we're sitting here, we're getting closer and closer to kickoff. We're 2 hours out. Somebody's going to have to deal with a slobber knocker today, right?
Yes.
This is going to be one of the most physical games that we've seen in a very long time. It doesn't matter what the score was last year. That is done. It doesn't matter. And I know for a fact in Oklahoma, they are still pissed off about that game.
Of course they are.
100%. And you know that they've been playing that on a loop the entire time at that university. Do we see an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty early in this game? I'm talking about within the first 10 seconds of this game.
Well, there's an
if you're an Oklahoma team.
Well, no, there's an opportunity for that to happen, but this generally isn't. They don't. This is a
terrible ref crew, by the way.
Well, you know what?
They all are. It's Big 12 refs.
True.
And as much as we think this is such a crazy rivalry, it's a very respected rivalry where the players hit the field. There's not a lot of, as I said, the emotions will run high, but you'll have that with some younger players.
Yeah.
The older guys generally don't get into all this stuff. They understand what the key is to this game and what the big picture is all about. These are two undefeated teams that have something. They don't have anything to prove except for the winner has a real opportunity.
Yeah.
You lose, you're still in the thick of things. I mean, you're still right there with the Big 12 championship looking at you. I mean,
no doubt.
These are the two best teams, I believe, in the Big 12, and now they just have an opportunity to battle with each other. But all in all, it's just another opportunity. You just got to be careful. As I said, you got to execute what your plan has been all week long. The emotions will ride with you just a little while, and then they'll just go away. Then you're just playing football again. Then you've got to execute everything that you need to. But the emotions and late shots and hits like that, it's just to the echo of the whistle.
Hey, if you're Oklahoma, you can't be giving Texas anything, right?
No.
Like, this Texas team is too good. So I get it, what you're saying, Hardge. You want to send a message. Want to send a message early that, this year is different, and we're here for all 4 quarters, and this isn't going to be like last year where our fans were walking out the door by halftime. Like, okay, I get it, wanting to send that message, but you can't be giving this Texas team a free 15 yards, man.
No doubt.
And I'll say that about Texas, too. You don't want to do that to Oklahoma. Like, OU's a good football team.
Yep.
You don't want to just be giving out 15 yards because you're trying to send some sort of message. No, do it with your play on the field. Just be the better team. That'll shut everybody up.
Yeah, the players are good enough to do that. They don't, you don't have to hit anybody late or whatever, but there will be some hard hits.
Oh, yeah.
There always is in this football game. That's what makes it so fun. And, it's an incredible event when you're coaching this game and guys come to the sideline and they're shaking their heads hard and they're going, I've been around Ricky Williams where he said, oh. He said, that still stinks. And I said, don't go away, get back in there.
It'll be all right. All right, we do have some sponsored segments because it is our pregame show here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. How about the offensive player of the game? We give out a prediction for every Longhorn game. Hardge, I'll go to you first today. Our offensive player of the game brought to you by Verde's Mexican Parrilla down there off Hamilton Pool Road.
I was there Wednesday, buddy.
In Austin. That place is ridiculously good. What'd you get? That chicken stuff with the eggplant and peach?
No, zucchini, mushrooms, and cheese.
Sorry about that. I'm getting my emojis confused.
Chicken palomino.
Your emojis.
That's all I'm
confused. Chicken palomino I had. Come on, man.
That place is good, man. The chicken poblano enchiladas, too. To die for. All right, Hardge, I'll go to you first. Once again, your prediction for Texas's offensive player of the game today.
I'm going to be like Bucky. I'm going to go Quinn Ewers and Jonathan Brooks.
No,
I'm just kidding. Bucky just picks the name that is hot right now.
Yep.
And that it would be Jonathan Brooks. But no, I'm looking at Xavier Worthy, believe it or not. This is an opportunity for him. He always seems to make a big play in this game. He's been here. He's made it. And I think he gets an explosive play deep down the field, and he's going to be my offensive player of the game.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, it feels like not enough people are talking about Xavier Worthy right now, right?
Exactly.
A.D. Mitchell had the huge game last week against Kansas, a career high for him. He was Quinn Ewers' favorite target in that win over the Jayhawks. But Xavier Worthy, man, he showed up big in this game last year, and he is a big game player as well. I like that pick. What about you, Buck?
How about Jordan Whittington today?
Okay.
Oh, please. Everybody's been beating him up. Thank you.
How about Jordan Whittington having a game, one of those games where he catches more than 6 passes in this football game?
He hasn't caught in 5 in a game this season.
I know. Well, this is his game. I've been waiting.
Take the over-under.
Yeah. I know you were waiting for me to say Jonathan Brooks, but no, I'm not going to say Jonathan Brooks today. I'm not going to go with the running back. I'm going to go with wide receiver Jordan Whittington.
Okay.
This is the game that he's had some really good opportunities in this football game. He hadn't had a lot during the course of this season, but he's been very valuable out there when it comes to run blocking, when it comes to quick screens and things like that. He's a fantastic blocker. I'm going to say he's going to have the game of the year for himself today.
I hope so, man. Just 12 catches for Jordan Whittington through 5
He may have
games.
12 today.
Yeah, he was really good in this game last year. Hell, everybody for Texas was really good.
But, I mean, DK,
year.
who you got?
Oh,
go ahead and take Jonathan Brooks. Go ahead.
No.
I'll write it down.
I'm going to take big game Quinn Ewers.
There you go.
This is his spot, isn't it? I mean, was his breakout game last year. He put on a show against Oklahoma. 4 touchdowns, 300 yards. They had no answers for him defensively. We know that this dude just shows up in the biggest of moments, right? We saw it in Tuscaloosa earlier this year. Hell, we saw it against Alabama early last year before he went down with that collarbone injury. This guy lives for the big moments, and I hope and pray that we see Alabama Quinn Ewers today, but I think that we do. I really do. I think that we do. Oklahoma's going to sell out to stop the run. I don't know if it's going to work because this Texas O-line and Jonathan Brooks are so good, but I think OU's going to make a conscious effort to load the box and try to prevent Texas from being able to run the ball like they have the last couple of weeks, which means it's going to be on Quinn. There's going to be a lot of one-on-ones on the outside. I think the receivers are going to have to do their thing too. But I think, Quinn Ewers, I hope, but I expect him to play really, really well for Texas today.
Yes.
Hey, way to go out on the limb on that one.
You like that? Come on, man.
Hey, we all got our hot spots. That's what we ended up going with.
I'm the Skip Bayless of Texas Sports Unfiltered, man.
I love it.
Hot takes
Hey, guys, I've had a great time with you guys. I'm going to enjoy some Fletcher's corn dogs.
Your shift doesn't end until 10:30. What are you doing?
Hey, my shift has changed, and I'm about to tag out to the great train.
Hey, it wasn't 10:30 Eastern. You know that. It's 10:30
That's what I thought it was, guys. I appreciate y'all.
There he goes.
Keep rocking it.
Keep rocking it. Hardball Hardge. You can catch Hanging with Hardge every weekday from 11 to noon on Texas Sports Unfiltered. To everybody watching here right now at the fair, make sure y'all download the Texas Sports Unfiltered app. It is free in the App Store and Google Play. We're also on YouTube as well. We're a bunch of radio guys, so I don't know if you want to look at our faces every day, but you can if you want. Just search Texas Sports Unfiltered on YouTube. We're bringing y'all Texas content every single day, 5 days a week from 8 to 5. And then, of course, pregame and postgame. I just said every day. We're not on Sundays, so I lied. Sorry about lying to you people.
Yeah, I will be in church.
But
I'm sorry. I lied too, didn't I?
Yeah, that's a very good lie right there. When's the last time you've been at church?
Who got married? Who died?
Probably 1936, I think, is the answer to that question. All right, Trey Elling is back on. Trey, we'll get your offensive player of the game prediction. Hardge went with Xavier Worthy. Buck went with Jordan Whittington. I copped out and went with the quarterback, Quinn Ewers. For you personally, if you were to pick somebody on this Texas offense who has a big day today, who are you going with?
Oh, gosh, guys, thank you for making it easier for me.
Yeah.
Jonathan Brooks, I appreciate the tap in there.
I thought you were going to say DJ Campbell.
DJ Campbell, yeah. No, Juan Davis is going to be the player of the game today. No, it's Jonathan Brooks. We don't need to overthink this one. He is one of the best running backs in the country, thank goodness. Unfortunately, it took an injury for the Texas coaches to realize he needs to be the starter in the bell cow, but he is now, and he's proven himself as the best running back in this conference, one of the best in the country, despite the fact that he wasn't the guy for the first 2 games. He's a top 3 rusher in the country right now, too, and I think he has a big day today because this Texas offensive line, while they are greatly improved with their pass blocking, their biggest strength right now is running the football.
Yep,
he's also really good with a very small amount. He's a combination of running backs from Texas past. He makes that little move like Bijan does. He is able to fit through tiny spaces like Deontay Foreman. And he also has that game-breaker speed, too. So Jonathan Brooks is my answer. I expect him to have somewhere in the 140 to 150 rushing yards range, breaking off a big run or two, and ultimately he makes everything else easier for this Texas offense.
Buck, I know Chip asked you this yesterday, but I'm going to ask you again today. You're the former running back coach here. What do you like the most about Jonathan Brooks' game, and what has made him the running back that he's become?
I mean, the way he breaks tackles is just – dynamic. It really is, and that's what makes him one of the best in the country. I mean, if you're not squared up to him the way you're supposed to, if you're not form tackling him and you're off balance, he runs through all that. You're like a blocking dummy to him or running machine. He doesn't go down on shoulders or arms. He doesn't get tripped up. He does a great job. I mean, he's got that slew-footed duck kind of deal with his feet. You know, he's not the bow-legged runner that you see a lot of guys. His feet go out.
Duck feet.
And he doesn't get tripped up. You don't see him stumble and trip down. You see him go through all of those runs. And I mean, I like that about him. And I liked his speed. I worried about his speed, you know, and it was in the middle of last year when I said, no, this guy's way fast enough. This is a This is a really fast kid. This isn't somebody that if you're even with, he'll leave you. He's got legitimate speed, and he runs so well with his pads. I mean, there are guys that are fast without pads on. He's fast with the pads on. He really is.
He is, and he runs. His style is one where you look at him physically and you're like, this guy looks like he could be a running back, but he's not somebody who's going to run away from you. But much like Bijan, he's really good at finding that open space, but he does have that top line speed too. Once he does get behind the defense.
He gets it in a hurry. He gets to that top line speed in a hurry, and he runs well between the tackles. That original guy at the line of scrimmage that he makes miss, the guy who's semi-blocked, who comes off a little bit, that guy, he just leaves him in the dust. I mean, he's finding ways to run between the tackles. I mean, I'd love to see him get on some outside, some call, give me a toss sweep with that guy every once in a while instead of doing some of these little 3rd and 1s and all the things that they do. How about just toss sweeping at him? If Sanders is held to get him out in front and toss sweep one around.
I don't think there's a bad play if you're giving it to Jonathan Brooks.
No.
I mean, that's the type of player that he's turned into. And as you mentioned, Trey, 3rd in the country in rushing, despite not being the starter for the first couple of games of the year for the Longhorns. He has turned into a hell of a player. I love his vision. And, he does have that home run ability. He's got a 50-plus yard run in each of the last 3 games, right? Had the big one in the 4th quarter against Wyoming, had a couple of really big ones against Baylor, and obviously had a field day. The best game of Jonathan Brooks' career last week against the Kansas
it won't
Jayhawks.
hurt you to get Cedric Baxter during a game like today. An Oklahoma game in his freshman year, there have been a lot of freshman running backs that have played that have had some really good things happen.
Yeah.
Ricky had a fantastic game in this game as a freshman. So this is a great opportunity for him to understand what this game is about.
All right, so let me follow up on that because hard to complain a lot about Texas, Kansas because the Longhorns won and they covered. Shout out to all the cousins out there who had money on Texas.
There you go.
You're an idiot, but I guess you were right. 21 carries for Jonathan Brooks, 15 carries for C.J. Baxter. Jonathan Brooks had more than 200 yards. I think C.J. Baxter was in the 60s. It's not like C.J. Baxter had a bad day, but it just feels like there is a difference between these two guys right now. And yes, I want C.J. Baxter to play, of course. Like, I don't want Jonathan Brooks getting 100% of the carries because the rotation has worked for this Texas run game this year. But I do get a little worried, Trey, if we see something as close to 50-50 like that, Texas might be wasting some plays.
Some of that obviously is C.J. Baxter getting the ball when the game was in hand. But there was a point in the 3rd quarter, I brought this up a little bit earlier, where they were rotating every other series. And look, I get it. C.J. Baxter is a hard runner. So he is going to put a hurting on the Kansas defense. The Kansas defense that at that point was pretty close to having given up. But you're denying Jonathan Brooks opportunities when the game is not necessarily out of hand just yet. And if there is a rotation right now, maybe CJ is coming in during drives. If Brooks has had several runs in a row, needs a bit of a break. But otherwise, I don't want to see Jonathan Brooks coming out except for maybe every 3rd or 4th series when it is still a ball game.
But there's no reason for him to come out, period, really. I mean, if he doesn't need a blow, if he doesn't ask to be taken out of a game, why should you be taken out of a game? There's no reason. Yeah. I mean, he'll let you know when he's tired or if he's taking a big hit. He'll let you know when he's ready to come and sit down for a play or two.
No.
They didn't have to sit down for a series. I mean, he didn't have to rotate the guy. Your running back coach, your head coach your running back's going to let you know when it's time for him to come out. He's going to look over to you. He's going to go like this and say,
"Right,
give me a break. I need a break. You've just run me 3 straight times." But if he doesn't do that, and Jonathan Brooks, and there's seldom you see a UT player do that anymore. Right. Nobody's tapping out. Nobody wants to come out of the game. They all want to play. So let your running back do the things. I mean, what was the game that he had 160? It could have easily been over 200. Was it Wyoming game?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was an opportunity for him to rush for over 200 yards, and they were bringing him out of the game and doing other things. They were trying to get their pass game going. But, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, if there's an opportunity for, Quinn Ewers was not Quinn Ewers at that time. You know what I'm saying? So you had to get him going, too. It's very important that you get your quarterback going. But there was an opportunity for him to have 2 200-yard games, I thought, so far this season.
Well, it's funny because Steve Sarkisian is adamant that he doesn't want to rotate wide receivers, which, look, I would rather have less of a rotation than too much of a rotation to take a shot at Tom Herman right now and his willingness to rotate, scrub, backup wide receivers in at crucial points in the game. But by the same token, it's almost like he's getting too cute with the running back rotation at times. So I think he needs to simplify that one and say, look, if Jonathan Brooks needs to come out of the game, great, we'll take him out of the game. There was a point where he came up lame in the Kansas game. I get him coming out at that point. But he came back in, I believe, later in that drive too. So Jonathan Brooks needs to be the guy until he tells you that he's not.
Yes.
In part because C.J. Baxter is still banged up right now. And according to what we're hearing behind the scenes, that's probably just going to remain the case for the rest of the year.
And
too.
he's a young runner. He still runs.
Absolutely.
He still runs like a kid who's out of high school. He is. And so, I mean, the expectations are it's going to take a year or so for him to get going. I mean, he may have been the number one running back in the nation coming out of high school. This is a different world.
Yeah.
And I think he understands some of the hits that he's taken right now. I didn't get hit like this in high school. People didn't put their hands on me, by the way. I was a big kid. I ran through the 170-pounders that were playing linebacker. It's different now. It's different. It's different for him at practice. It's different from him, in the classroom. Everything's different for him. So let him just kind of be weaned into that whole thing, as you say, Trey. He doesn't need a whole series. He may need a play here or two. He's going to be fantastic. He's going to be a load of a player when he ends up being 6'2", 230. You're talking about Eric Dickerson lookalike. That kid is going to be that big, huge running back that you don't see that much of anymore.
And it was always talked about when he was recruited that he will probably get reps as a freshman, but you won't really see him hit his stride until he's had a couple of off seasons in the strength and conditioning program, so he can put the proper weight on to match his hard running style.
Well, it's his time now, even at this part of his career, to start putting punishment on other people. He's taken a lot of hits because I do say when he gets hit, when he falls like, how does he fall, BK?
Falls like a sack of shit. Still don't know what that means. But you keep saying it.
I mean, it's like if you had a sack of shit right there and you just pushed it off. When it hit the ground, it just hits funny.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience.
No,
how often have you done this?
Like you.
Yeah.
No, I have never ever.
Sounds like the buck shits in a bag and puts it on the table and just knocks it off to hear the sound of shit hitting the ground.
No, it's just a different kind of sound when you just push it off and it goes boom. He's at that point right now, and he's big enough that he's going to learn how to start dishing out that punishment.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if C.J. Baxter ever offers anyone a baked potato, you want no part of that thing.
No.
Hey, since we're talking about the running game, let's go Steve Sarkisian. This is from Thursday. He was talking about the Oklahoma run defense and what type of challenges they present.
Well, I think one, it starts with their scheme. Coach Venables does a really nice job of scheming. They do a really good job of moving their front. They slant, they stunt, they move, and they've got really heady linebackers. Both their inside backers have a good feel for how to fit runs predicated on the fronts that they have called and the movements that they have called. And then in the back end, they've got good speed at the safety spot. And those guys, if a run does get out, they have the speed and the ability to get the runner on the ground so that he can't, go score on the long touchdown run. So I think it's a multitude of things. They're good for sure.
What happened?
Was that AI Steve Sarkisian there? What happened there?
I don't know what just happened to Sark. Like, he sounded normal for 20 seconds, and then just a swarm of bees came through and interrupted Steve Sarkisian there. But there we go. I mean, that's a huge matchup, really, on both sides of the football, right? We can flip the script and talk about OU's rushing offense against the Texas run D in a minute. But, man, Trey, you sound really confident that Texas is going to be able to run the ball effectively. And OU's offense has been really, really good this year. And Dylan Gabriel has been their best player. You want to keep that guy on the sideline. And the best way to do that is to establish the ground game, control the clock a little bit. Look, you'll take points however you get points. If Texas wants to score on these 2-minute drives, none of us are going to complain.
No.
But if you're able to put together those 7, 8, 9, 10-play drives that just take 5-6 minutes off the clock, you're able to establish the ground game and play slow and bleed the play clock before every single snap. That's going to really frustrate the hell out of Oklahoma, and that could make it a long day for the Sooners.
We saw a solid game out of this Texas defensive line last weekend, guys. I think we see an A-plus effort today. I think that they are doing a great job of holding their own, stopping the run when they need to, but also getting a lot of organic pressure on the quarterback. Maybe they're sending an extra guy at times, but I expect this defensive line to make Dylan Gabriel's life hell. You have to be careful because he does have good pocket presence, and if he does get in front of you when you're pushing up field and there's not a spy or somebody else at that second level, he will pick up chunk yardage. But I think this Texas defensive line is primed for one of their best games of the season, best game of the season since Alabama.
Yeah, and it should be in a game like this, and it very well should be. This is the first time in a long time that I don't feel like this is a recruiting game. Generally, but when we come up here, you start to think, this is about some big-time recruits. Texas has owned the recruiting battle between Texas and Oklahoma for the last couple of years. And Sark has built such a reputation, and especially in the month of June. For the first time I'm sitting here, BK, I'm not thinking about, you know what, recruits are going to be, they're going to be here today.
Yeah.
There will be recruits in this Metroplex area.
Texas is the home team, so Texas has the visitors today.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with some of the high schools in this area that are putting out a lot of great players, I don't feel like it's a recruiting battle today for some odd reason. You know, it doesn't seem like it's a part of it, but it always is.
It is. Of course it is.
Remember Adrian Peterson, who came to this game, who was coming to Texas?
Yeah, the guy who went to Oklahoma so he could win a national championship, but then Oklahoma didn't win a national championship.
I remember that.
And Texas did. Good job, AD. Well done. Although I don't know if we want that switch guy on our side. Okay,
Oh, yeah. Those genital lashes, they'll leave a mark.
Yeah, I know you're a fan of those. Defensive player of the game. Since we're talking about defense, shout out to our friends at Kenfield Golf Cars for sponsoring this one. If you need a golf cart and you're in the Austin area, you got to reach out to our friends at Kenfield Golf Cars. If you already have a golf cart, you want to spice it up a little bit, get it customized the way that you want, our friends at Kenfield can make it happen for you. They can turn your golf cart dreams into reality. They've been in business for a long time, and they are the very best in the business. Buck, I'll go to you first on this one. How about your prediction for the
I'm
defensive?
going to Mr. Sweat. This is a game to move the line of scrimmage. This is a game for this defensive line to really get some penetration, get in the face of Dylan Gabriel, make it tough for him to throw. But also, I mean, you're still going to have to keep the integrity of where you go in the gaps and not let him get through these gaps and get loose. But I think this is a defensive game and a defensive line game for the Texas Longhorns. Push back into his lap a little bit.
Trey, what about you? Defensive player of the game.
Defensive player of the game is going to be Jahdae Barron. I think we see him excel in helping to stop the run at times, but also in pass coverage, maybe occasionally even blitzing the quarterback and getting a sack before it's all said and done. Jahdae Barron is arguably the best player on this Texas defense this season, to go along with Jalen Ford and Tavondre Sweat, and I think this is a big game for him.
I'm going to go with Jalen Catalon. It's the day, boys.
Bowling ball.
Yep. We've been waiting.
Look out, Dylan Gabriel. That collision.
The coaching staff has been waiting, right? They've been saving their best ammunition for this game. Now, we saw Jalen Catalon play last week because I think the Texas coaching staff figured they might need him against Jalen Daniels and what was supposed to be a really good Kansas offense. And Jalen Catalon made his presence felt. That dude is a heat-seeking missile on defense. And I think today it's a big day for Jalen Catalon. I feel bad for some Oklahoma receiver running over the middle of the field. Maybe it's Drake Stoops. You know, that guy's like 55 years old. So maybe
Does he still play here?
Yeah, maybe Catalon will send him into the retirement home once or for all today.
Still think he lives with his parents? Mr. and Mrs. Stoops?
No question.
In the basement?
No question.
Got to be in the basement, right?
Yeah.
That guy is the only player to ever play in Texas OU who also has an AARP card.
Okay.
So congrats to Drake
He
Stoops.
has been around for a while
on that one. But, I feel for him. But also, like you said, Dylan Gabriel, man. I mean, Dylan Gabriel, his legs are a weapon for Oklahoma. And if he is going to take off and run, when he is going to take off and run, because we know it's going to happen.
It's going to happen, yeah.
If he's not willing to give himself up, if he's trying to fight for extra yards and he doesn't slide, then you got to make that dude pay.
Yeah, I mean, as we said yesterday, you haven't seen him slide very much this year because last time he really took a good slide, it was against TCU.
He got clocked even when he tried.
He tried to slide, and they knocked him out of the game. And that's when TCU was on their 5-game hitting streak of knocking quarterbacks out in the Big 12. So he takes on the hits now, and he wants to show you he's a tough guy. And he is a tough guy, but, I mean, the wear and tear on him as a quarterback trying to run over this Texas defense, that's not good for him, especially these kids, as you say, coming out of the secondary. They do such a good job of tackling. You know, they fill the lanes pretty good, and they're really good tacklers. And I expect them to be all over this guy. I mean, he can run, but now he's not elusive. He's not a running back.
Yeah.
He's just a little bit better average than most quarterbacks. Except for Quinn Ewers, because Quinn Ewers goes for 30 and 25.
Well, Quinn Ewers is faster than Lamar Jackson.
That's right.
And Arch Manning is prime Michael Vick, apparently. That's how it works now. But
strength and conditioning do a lot for you.
Arch Manning had wheels back in high school. People don't realize this. He was a good straight line runner in high school. So don't be surprised when you see him rip some runs like this off, too.
I think he's running 20 miles an hour, like Sark said.
I don't know. Steve Sarkisian obviously is all about defending his guys, and he will name the wrong injury to keep a defense from going after that. So he probably does add a tick or two to that MPH.
Yeah. The good news with Dylan Gabriel, he's not as fast as Jalen Milroe, right? Texas
No.
did a great job of containing Alabama's quarterback. He's not as fast as Jason Bean. Like Kansas's quarterback last week was faster than the guy Texas is going to see today. And then you think of some of the other quarterbacks who have played in this game. I mean, Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray.
That little fella.
Yeah, the midget guy. Yeah, I mean, there are probably a few of those walking around here somewhere.
We are at the fair. Be careful.
That's how it goes. But yeah, like Dylan Gabriel, I don't get it twisted. Like this guy is not going to run a 4.5 40 at the NFL Combine if he even gets the invite to the NFL Combine. Like he's not that fast. He's a smart runner though. So if Texas is just disciplined, if they keep the edge on the D line, if they don't give Dylan Gabriel those running lanes where he can step up in the pocket and take off, then Texas is going to be fine because we're not talking about a like serious dual threat that they're going up against.
In some weird way, him not being an elite runner and being more of a smart runner makes it more difficult to defend because you can fall asleep on a guy like that versus it constantly being hammered in if a guy like Bean or Jalen Milroe is out there. So I do expect Kwiatkowski and this defensive staff to make sure that this defense does not forget about the threat to run. I think it's why you'll see a fair amount of coverage, zone coverage early on, and you will see spies at times as well. Maybe a good role for David Benda using that sideline to sideline speed.
Yeah, maybe Anthony Hill too. That's another one of those guys, right? Anthony Hill really made a name for himself in that Alabama game, in part because he was in spy on Jalen Milroe for a lot of those plays. Maybe that's the opportunity for him. I don't know if Texas is going to keep a guy in spy on every play. They might go on and off. They might mix up who the spy is going to be. You got to be a little bit nervous, though, because OU's got good receivers. And once again, their passing game has been one of the most efficient in college football. So got to be a little bit nervous if you're giving up defenders. But obviously, you have to be aware of what Dylan Gabriel can do when he runs.
Now, how special will the special teams be for both teams today? I mean, this is one of the things that you worry about in a game like this because the execution can be good offensively and defensively. Yeah. But if you have a screw up in your special teams today in this game, you're talking about gathering momentum, gathering emotions. This one you have to be careful of. You've got to do all those things, Trey, that we talk about. The ball can't be bouncing around. You can't lose 30 yards on a punt that you could have fielded. You also can't lose the ability to put a punt on the ground today. You got to be really special in special teams today. My expectation, I think Texas is going to block a punt today.
There you go.
Oh, I like that prediction.
I think they're going to block a punt today.
I'm also going to predict we see Xavier Worthy not catch a lot of punts because there were moments last week where he was standing on the spot when the punt leaves the punter's foot and he ends up backing off because I think he's been told, unless it's an obvious one that you can catch and run with, just let it be. Now, a silver lining, I guess, even though Oklahoma's special teams has been better this year, their punting hasn't been great. So I don't think this is the week that Xavier Worthy and his uncertainty with regards to fielding punts bites Texas in the backside.
Yeah, and it also will depend on how this wind will swirl. We got a little bit of wind.
Yeah,
we'll have some wind today. It's really different. Once you're inside that stadium there, it changes from half to half. It really
does.
Yeah, it always has been that way. So it'll be interesting, as you said. You got to field these punts. You just can't let them. You just can't let them go. You can't lose yardage on punts and punt returns. But my expectation is Texas will get after them when they start to punt the ball. They will change some momentum in this game.
I'm going to keep predicting a Xavier Worthy punt return touchdown until it happens. So I am predicting a Xavier Worthy punt return touchdown.
He does that every week.
That's my new bit now. Okay. It's going to happen at some point this season, right? He's gotten close a few different times. I think going into the Kansas game, he was averaging 15 yards a return. I haven't checked the numbers this week, so I don't know how much that changed. But this dude, we know how explosive he can be with the ball in his hands. And if he just catches it, he's got a shot to take it to the house.
Right.
And I think today he's going to catch at least one punt, and it's going to end up in the end zone.
It better happen this week because otherwise they're going to spend this off week finding a new punt returner.
What about kicker? We were talking about special teams. We're ignoring the biggest problem with the Texas special teams right now.
They don't have a problem in the kicking game.
Yeah, shit show Bob.
They don't have any problems in the kicking game right now.
Yeah.
They're as solid can be.
No, they are as solid as water right now. As solid as Ollie Popper, Oldstad beer. It's liquid, the issues with the Texas kickers right now. And yeah, Bert Auburn was not an issue last year. He missed 5 field goals in the 13 games Texas played in. Nobody talked about that being a potential problem in the offseason, right? We just kind of assumed, like, we're good. We've got our guy for the next couple of years.
Texas always has a kicker.
Yeah, Texas always has a kicker. We don't have to worry about this. But here we are 5 games into the season, and Bert Auburn has missed as many kicks this year as he did in the entirety of 2022. So, Buck, I'll go to you first. What's the confidence level in Bert Auburn? I mean, forget the fourth quarter, but, like, just if Texas needs to settle for 3 in the first quarter, do we feel good about that guy being able to make one?
Are we saying go for it on fourth down no matter what?
I mean, are we going to get to that point?
No,
I don't think
I'm not.
Sark is there now.
No.
We're not there just yet, but something inside, I don't know,
Yeah.
or outside of 45 yards, maybe 42 or 43.
Punt. I will let punt and I'll play my defense instead.
But punt?
Yes, I'm not trying 48-yard field goals in this stadium today with this win.
Dude.
No.
It depends on what the fourth down and distance is. I would consider going for it in that situation, maybe.
I can't be punting from OU's 33-yard line today. Like that's – or their 31-yard. That's a 48-yard field goal. That's from the 31-yard
How about
line.
let's not kick any field goals and let's score touchdowns?
Well, that's
And
best case
Are you
scenario.
worried about extra points then?
No, not worried about extra points because he
Okay.
hasn't missed any of those
Yet.
yet this year. But look, I mean, hopefully Texas figures out some of its red zone issues, and it feels like they did that a little bit against Baylor, and they did that in the second half against Kansas last week. Obviously, this is the type of game you want to get 7 instead of 3, but
Absolutely.
odds are, look, OU's defense is good enough to where at some point you would think they're going to hold Texas to a field goal attempt. And can Bert Auburn step up and make those kicks when he's called upon? It hasn't mattered that much, guys.
Texas always has a kicker. Remember that, BK. Just
No, they don't. They don't have
Understood.
one right now. You can't always have a kicker when you don't have one right now. That's not what always means.
Nick Rose would like a word.
Yeah, exactly. But this could be a close game. Like Texas has won its games by an average of 23 points this
Right.
season. They played 5 double-digit games to this point. So a missed field goal here or there has not been an issue. But Trey, like Vegas is basically telling us this is the closest game they expect Texas to play the rest of the season. So we don't know what's going to happen. There's a chance Texas doesn't play well and stubs its toe and is in a 4-quarter game against TCU or BYU or somebody. But, yeah, I mean, this could be a close game today, and, like, you might need your kicker to step up and make some kicks.
no.
I'm going to step away from the headset because we have a Texas Longhorns basketball player who's going to hop on for a few
Oh,
minutes.
yes, we do. Can we get this guy on the field? I mean, this guy's diving for every loose ball on the court. We need him diving at the bottom of piles, biting ankles
absolutely.
at the end of a fumble. The great Brock Cunningham joining us right now here on Texas Sports
What's up,
Unfiltered.
Brock?
What's up, big dog?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate
Good to see
you,
you,
man.
man.
All right, so how you feeling about this game today, man?
I'm feeling extremely confident. It's a beautiful Saturday in Dallas. The Horns are going to come out with a win.
Let me ask you this. Are you ever not confident? I don't think I've ever seen you not confident in your life.
No, I mean, you have to be. We're at Texas. Everyone's coming for us.
Yeah.
You know, we got a target on our back, but that's part of it, being at Texas.
Now you love a good rivalry, and you've been in plenty of rivalry games. This one right here is really, really something special, and the emotions that you play in these games. Out of all these things, Brock, when we talk about emotional, it's Texas versus OU, it's Texas in basketball versus Kansas. Your emotions only go so far. I mean, your training and everything the coaches talk to you about, and people say, well, the guys just play. They don't know. They don't play. There's things that they're coached to do, that they're talked about to do. You really have to execute in a game like this too.
Absolutely. I mean, if you let your emotions get the best of you, you're going to end up losing the game. 15-yard penalties, in our case, technical fouls. But Sarkisian's done such a great job in teaching these guys to control their emotions and play within the game and to take care of it. I mean, they're going to do a great job.
Well, you can't get into it. You come to this game where it's very important, but you've also been to Tuscaloosa, Alabama,
Yep.
playing in a game. So you've been in front of big crowds
Exactly.
and everybody against you. So this one, at least you got half and half here.
Yep.
How many of these Texas OU games have you been to, bro?
This is my second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't go the first couple of years, but
No, we always had basketball or some going on these weekends. It was hard to make it up.
Yeah.
Last year we came for the team retreat, and then the whole team is here again.
there we go. So you're good luck.
Tried to be.
49 to
There you go.
nothing last year. We're going to get one of those again this year.
That's the plan.
Oh, man. All right, so talk a little basketball. I
How's your
guess.
practices been? You guys already hit the hardwood, haven't you?
Yep, we've been practicing for a while now. Loving it. We got some really good guys. Max Asmith, Ithiel Horton, to name a few guys that
Yeah.
have come in and done a really good job, played well at their past schools, and are looking to win here.
What are you now, 31, 32?
You're not 17 anymore.
No, I'm not.
No. I remember calling your
6.
games in high school, man. Year 6. Okay, I think you're rounding down a little bit.
Yep.
Man, you've been through a couple of different coaches, obviously, during
Yep.
your time at Texas. Tell us about Rodney Terry. I mean, we all know the run that you guys went on when he took over midway through last season, but obviously it's the first full off season with him in charge. What's been the biggest difference, and what have you liked the most about RT?
The thing that I like most about RT is he really cares about his players off the court and after they get done playing at Texas. A lot of coaches just care about the value that a player brings during their 4 years of eligibility. but RT cares about their guys afterwards, setting them up with real connections and things that'll help them when the ball stops dribbling. That's something I admire about him.
Okay. So what, we're thinking Final Four this year, right? One stop short.
Bare minimum.
Uncle Luke was paying the
Bare
refs in that game last year. I'll never get over that. I can only imagine how you feel after that one. But is that the goal? We feel like this is a Final Four team this year?
Absolutely. I've been hanging my hat on 30 wins.
Yeah.
You know, we were knocking on the door last year. Easily could have done it, let a few slip. But if we win 30 games this year, we're playing in the Final Four, playing for huge wins.
I like that. All right, what's your score prediction today before we let you go?
I think 35-21.
Okay.
Guys.
So a win and a cover, huh?
Yeah.
I like that.
mean, I don't know the spread. You know, we're not allowed to bet.
Oh, you don't play at Iowa State. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No. We don't go anywhere near the books.
There you go.
I'm thinking 35-21. Good guys.
I love it. That's a win. The line's about 6.5. So, just don't put any money on that.
There you go.
No ACL this, or you're going next
Oh,
weekend?
I'm going. I'll probably go today.
Yeah, of course you will. You know my boy Daniel Carr, right? You're good friends with him? Yeah.
Everyone knows Steve
Yeah,
Carr.
of course he
There you
does.
go.
I grew up with that fool, man. Sometimes I wish I didn't know that guy.
I love that.
You're the man, Brock. Hey, thanks for
Hey,
coming on, brother. We
thanks for having
appreciate
me,
you.
guys.
Good luck this
Appreciate
season.
you, man.
Hopefully we get the chance to talk to you a little closer to basketball time. Good luck. man.
Thank you.
There he goes. Brock Cunningham, Texas basketball star.
Legend now.
And he's lying. Year 6. No, it's year 16. for
Yeah,
that
that's what I
dude.
was thinking. He's at 6.
That guy was in college when I was in college.
And I just started radio, and he's still here.
No, you started radio in 1892. So I don't think Brock Cunningham, his parents, his grandparents, none of them were alive when you were doing that. But, I love that. Excited for Texas basketball. It gets going here in a few weeks. And obviously coming off of a great season, the furthest this team has gone.
Yeah, they're at practice. They've been practicing for the last couple of weeks, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely. We're hoping to get Rodney Terry on the show at some point, too.
Yeah, and rather than me coming back on, we're going to have a lifetime Longhorn join you guys now if you're cool with it. Tristan Nicholson.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Love it.
Played in this game before, of course.
few
Get his
times.
perspective on things.
Awesome. Former offensive lineman Tristan Nicholson joining us. What's up, big dog? Good
How
to
are
see
you,
you, man.
How are you, sir?
Doing well.
Oh, man. I think that chair will hold you.
It should be all right.
Yeah. How you doing, brother?
Dude, couldn't be better.
I mean, did you ever have weather like this for a Texas OU game?
No, you had it when it was hot as hell,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. As soon as I leave, it gets hot.
Yeah, I mean, it was, this in the 60s this morning. I think the high today is 72. It couldn't be better. I like that Earl Campbell Oilers jersey you're rocking.
You like that?
The love you blue going on there, man.
Got to, man.
I know you're down in H-Town these days, so always
I am.
repping, huh?
Yeah, right. Well, I went to the store and this is all
There you go. All right.
No Longhorn stuff.
So we'll I hate to go stereotype and ask an offensive lineman a question about the offensive line, but we'll obviously talk to you plenty about this Texas football team as a whole. But this O-line group, man, I mean, it feels like this group is just playing with a ton of confidence right now. It feels like they're getting better as the season has gone on, and it feels like Texas has one of the best O-lines in the country right now.
I think that's right. I think that they're more confident and they're just grittier than when I was playing.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't your fault. It was the other guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Right.
Yep.
That's always the thing. But no, man. And when you got running backs back-to-back years like they've got now with Jonathan Brooks and Bijan, obviously, it makes it easy, right? A good running back and a good quarterback can make offensive linemen look really, really good. But no, man, these guys are tough. They're gritty. It's fun to watch them play.
Yeah.
And it's got to be an awful lot of fun to play in this football game as an offensive lineman or any position player. But this one, especially for the offense and defensive lines, it is – you're talking about in the trenches.
Sure.
And a game that you love to play in. This is the one right here.
Oh, yeah. No,
between this and the Aggies, I don't know which one is.
And I never got the opportunity to play in an Aggie game, so I'm excited to go back as a fan next year. But no, Bucky, you're right. This game's something special. I mean, there's one or two games that I would put up here with this. I think Notre Dame at home.
There you go.
Yeah.
And USC when we went there a couple of years ago. Those are pretty special on my list. But this game every year is something cool.
What's the tunnel like, man? I love asking every former player or coach who's been a part of this game, just the scene when you run onto the field. I kind of wish they would flip it every year to where Texas fans got to sit by the tunnel some years, but obviously Oklahoma gets that every single year.
Yeah.
What's it like running out onto the field for the first
It's
time?
awesome, man. You come out of the locker room, right, and you got all your guys with you. That's normal every game, but then you start just hearing the chants, man. And when you come out, you're right. There's not another game where, and especially when you're the home team, and you come out into enemy territory, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you walk by, they got the covered wagon, they got their guns out, they don't do anything. But no, man, it's cool. It's something special for sure.
Yeah. And then on the field, how much trash is being talked? Like, does anybody – on the line of scrimmage, are you taking shots at the Oklahoma D linemen? Are they saying anything back to you, or is it all business on the field?
No, man, all the time. You talk trash in the trenches. That is the business. Right?
That's the business of the trenches.
Yeah, right. That's the business of the trenches. No, that you go back and forth. Some guys more than others, but it's the stoic types you got to worry about.
Oh, right. Yeah. Those sometimes are the best guys
Yeah,
out there.
right. Exactly.
What are you saying in there? You talking trash about dudes' moms? What are you doing?
No, nothing.
There's a line. There's a line to be drawn, I guess.
There's a line, and you can only get out so much in between the huffing and puffing.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Are we allowed to use colorful language on this?
Oh, of course you are.
Yeah, you can get out of fuck you every once in a while, but you're not going into monologues.
No.
Yeah.
Not enough time. Get out of the huddle, break the huddle, let's go.
Yeah, right.
Man, what about this team as a whole, Tristan? I mean, this group is playing at a great level right now. They're number 3 in the country. They're 5-0 for the first time in a long time. It feels like Steve Sarkisian has this program in a great spot.
Yeah.
What have you seen? Obviously, you've been a fan and you were a part of this program for a few years. What have you seen that's just different about this Texas team that is working so well?
I think the biggest shift I saw, honestly, was whenever they brought in Chris Conti, right? It seemed like the whole focus of the program and the school shifted from we're an academic school, we're a basketball school, to hey, let's focus on what we actually are, which is a badass football school. And so they dumped a bunch of money in the program, obviously brought Sark on, and he's done a fantastic job recruiting. The guys that they've brought in the past couple of years, I mean, I joke around I wouldn't have started for this team. I mean, they've done really something special, and I think a lot of that is not only going back to some of the roots, but also getting ready for SEC competition. You got to ramp up a little bit. But no, it's a special team that he's built, and that this staff is built, and there are a few guys still on staff from whenever I was around. So I talked to them, and they say it's just a different atmosphere, right? It's more fun. But guys are also ready to get down to business every week.
And it's also a special school. It just is.
Sure.
I mean, the University of Texas is a special place. It was a special place to coach. Obviously, it's a special place that, where you live, the people around that university, and it is family. It just is. I mean, it started back with Mac, and how he treated people. You had to be a part of a family. I think Sark is starting to build that same kind of tradition with the players and how they get along and how they'll take care of themselves. I mean, you've had players that will remain friends of yours for a lifetime. Sure. I mean, there's not a lot of places like that. There are pretend places that a couple of years after you graduate, everybody's going about their business. They're going on their own. But the things that you've been through and been around at this university, these are relationships that last for it just goes on and on and on. And anytime you guys need somebody, you can call on each other and they come back for anything that you need. That's one of those brotherhoods that's very special about being at Texas. It is a brotherhood. It really is.
It is. No, you're battling. You're every day in and out in fall camp, especially. You're sleeping. We slept in the locker room, right? So you're sleeping on air mattresses next to you. That just builds a relationship and a bond that lasts a lifetime. And just to your point, Bucky, the school itself. I mean, now that I've gotten into the world of business, you see the Texas Exis network. There's nothing like it.
Man.
I mean, you talk to guys who went to different schools or people who didn't went to other schools. Yeah, we have an alumni lunch every quarter, whatever. Man, I'm on social media, and they've got breakfast, they've got lunch, anything and everything to help out fellow Longhorns. And I don't know if there's another program or there's another institution like that.
Yeah.
But now that Sark has really seemed to gotten the attention of the city too, right? When I was playing, I always said there's so much going on in Austin. Like, Austin is such a badass place that, on a Saturday afternoon, I mean, if the Horns aren't good, man, it's there's other stuff to do, right? It's tough. But now that, I think I saw the picture, they got 5 sold out crowds in a row.
Yeah.
People really seem to be excited about it. There's a buzz about this team, last year's team as well, but it's just something special.
It really is, man. It really, really is. What are you doing these days? I'm sure the people would love to know.
Sure. So I work for a little company. They're based out of North Carolina, but I'm remote for some of their stuff here in Texas. But we build solar farms. So
there you go.
Utility scale, out in the middle of nowhere, feeding power grid, feeding ERCOT, doing that.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good time.
ERCOT needs a lot of feeding.
I tell you what, man. I tell you what. But no, it's fun.
Good. You got a prediction for today's game before we let you go?
I feel really good about this team. I'm interested to see. I think there's been a lot of talk back and forth. We hadn't seen a real quarterback, hadn't seen a starting quarterback. Yep. All the bullshit, right? But I think there's just a solid group on defense. So if I had to give a prediction, I'm thinking like 38-21 for the Horns.
Okay.
I think it'll be close going into the third and fourth quarter, but as we've seen all this year, these guys decide to pick it up a little bit in those quarters.
Yeah, they start
That's
leaning
amazing.
on that offensive line starts to lean on you in the fourth quarter.
And on defense too, Bucky. It's
Yes.
the depth, right? I mean, that's something that I haven't seen in years for Texas. Not to go off on a rant, but
No, go ahead.
is the depth, right? You've
Oh,
got
yeah.
dudes in the threes that would start for the other guys, right? Like
Right.
that not only is that a physical thing, right? You're just wearing down, beating on. It's a mental thing.
Sure.
When you're up against their number one and he comes out and the number two guy's just as good, maybe he's even better
Right.
for a couple plays, then that's tough.
Other teams just don't have that.
No,
No.
absolutely
Because
not.
everyone wants to rotate, right?
Sure.
You realize the importance of rotating guys over the course of 60 minutes.
Sure.
But there's usually a big drop off from the starter to the backup. And for Texas, there just isn't one.
Yeah. No,
It's fun to
there's
watch.
not.
38-21. I like it. Well, Tristan,
Yeah.
thanks for stopping by, brother.
Right.
Thanks,
Good
man.
to see you, man.
Good to see you.
All the best to the
Thank
wife
you.
and the kids. He's got 2 kids, 1 newborn, right? 2 months?
Yeah. We drove up last night, and I was telling everybody last night was the first night of good sleep.
There you go.
Because they weren't there, right?
Yeah, right. My wife's all pissed off that she didn't get to come to the game.
Hey.
So shout out to her.
Next time, shout out to her. There
Yeah,
you got
yeah,
that
yeah.
right.
Awesome, guys. Appreciate
You're the
you.
man.
Thank you.
There he goes. Tristan Nicholson, former Texas offensive lineman, a guy who played in this game a few times, and a really, really good dude, too, tearing it up down in H-Town.
Got his age. I love that jersey.
Yeah, the Earl Campbell, love you blue.
Love you blue.
It's as good as it gets right there. That's a big human being, too.
Man, is he big.
Yeah, like I keep trying to adjust myself in my seat to make me look taller.
Don't,
That guy's
don't
hunched
try.
over, and he's
No,
still way
Just
bigger
go
than I
ahead and
am.
go ahead down there,
Yeah.
nice and low.
Yeah. But he's a
Like
great
that
dude.
bag.
Great dude. All right, what other? We've got some sponsored segments, I believe. Oh, how about you want to do your 3 keys right now?
You ready for it?
Bucky's 3 keys to victory for Texas today. These are all brought to you by our friends at Hat Creek Burger Company. What are you thinking today, Buck?
Thinking about that Hat Creek burger right now. We're getting
Oh,
towards I know it's 10. I know you guys love your little corny dogs.
Do they have Hat Creek burgers at the state fair?
No, they don't. But
Okay.
I know how you guys like those little red rockets that come out at the end of the corny dogs.
I don't like the Red Rocket, for the record. I like the corn dog, but I'm not into a dog's genitalia.
As long as somebody has spooched mustard all over the corn dog, I'm all about it.
I can't speak for
All
Trey.
right.
I can speak for me.
There you go. 3 keys to victory. Contain your emotions today. Don't let your emotions run wild. I think that's the number one thing for players in this football game is to really contain your emotions. Emotions are going to be there. It's a rivalry game. It's every year. It's going to happen once a year, and you're going to be emotional, but you got to really contain those emotions. Got to protect Quinn Ewers today. They're coming for him. They're coming for him. They're coming with some weird exotic blitz that they haven't shown all year long. So they're coming for your quarterback. And you got to execute in the special teams today. You got to execute in big games like this. Special teams will mean a lot. You know, we talk about the kicker. Yeah, he's got to make his field goals. That's the real deal. That's not getting after the kicker just for getting after the kicker for the sake of it. You have to execute in your special teams in huge games. This is a huge game. It's as big as any other game that they'll play this year. And so your execution in the special teams, BK, has to be there. And that's, as Sark says, hey, the guard sometimes has to block the guard down there so the punt returner can catch the ball. You have to execute in every position. It's not just the guy who returns the punts that we're looking at. If he drops the ball, he doesn't catch the ball. It's the fact that everybody has to execute in the special teams today. Snapper, got to be careful of the snapper. You got to be aware of the punter. This is, as I said, I believe there's going to be a block punt today. I think Texas will block a punt today.
There you go.
On Oklahoma. So that's a part of your special teams. That's the plus of it. But your special teams have to be special in this game. And that's the 3 keys to victory. Brought to you by Hat Creek Burger. And if you haven't found out about your Hat Creek Burger locally where you are, make sure that you check out their breakfast. They do have breakfast at Hat Creek Burger at some of their locations.
Yeah.
So check it out because I'm into the pancakes at Hat Creek Burgers and the bacon.
You got to get
and the
that
tacos.
birthday cake shake at some point too,
I'm
though.
not
man.
doing that.
Dude.
I'm not. No.
Those shakes are dangerous.
They are dangerous.
So good.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. 26 locations all across the state of Texas. Go see our friends at Hat Creek Burger Company for a great meal. Trey, what do you think of what Bucky has to say? Contain your emotions, protect Quinn Ewers, and special teams has to be special. You buy into that?
I don't know if special teams needs to be special today
Okay.
because it hasn't been for much of the year.
But today,
and this team is still winning by double digits.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you would like to see them tighten that up for what is the biggest game of the year. Arguably, Alabama was, but you move on. That was a nice moment. Now this is the biggest game of the year, and you treat every game the rest of the way like that. But this truly is because it's a top 12 matchup. It is your rival. They have national championship aspirations, too.
They should. They really should.
Is a chance that this is the first of 2 meetings with your rival in both of your final season in this crap conference. So, you want to get special teams dialed in. Xavier Worthy needs to back off of every punt. Great, so be it. I want to see Bert Arburn being a little bit more accurate from 45 yards in. That will provide some relief. Ryan Sanborn has been great as a punter. And I like your call about a blocked punt because we really haven't seen the punt block unit go hard after a whole lot of kicks this year. And Keelan Robinson, it's his time to shine when you're talking about blocked punts. So maybe he can find that crease and get to the punter, block one, flip the field, or turn it into a special teams touchdown.
In the word to one Texas fan who just walked by, block that shit.
Yeah.
That is what Texas needs to do today. Block that shit. And oh, by the way, I'm seeing a lot more burnt orange than crimson and cream today. What happened to the OU fans? They didn't show? They got their ass whooped too bad last year. They couldn't show up this year. I mean, we're the OU fans this year. What's going on?
I did a lap around the stadium. There's a decent OU contingent on the other side of the stadium right now.
They're too scared to come see us, though. Huh?
That's where the jobs are.
Yeah, they're working as carnies over there. Someone's got to guess my weight.
Somebody's got to sell those deep fried Snickers bars.
Yeah,
not going to sell themselves.
100%. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't heard a lot of Boomers, Sooners. I haven't gotten one middle finger today from an OU fan. Has that been canceled? Are OU fans politically correct now?
Sooners fans, you're letting us down. We need a few more middle fingers as you pass by.
No Oklahoma fan has flipped
Shoot
the
us
bird in my
These guys
face
are afraid
today.
to do so. Okay,
there
we go.
Come on
number
now.
37, a deep snapper or something on the former Oklahoma team. Faulkner is the deep snapper's name, apparently.
The game's about to start. Get out there, bud. What are you doing? There's the horns down. All right, there we go.
Everybody
Come
does
on
that.
now.
You're
Not
welcome.
enough of that.
You're welcome for the hand sign. You're welcome
Yeah.
for your hand sign.
And we appreciate all of you who buy Texas gear to flip it up upside down on your car. You're supporting our school by doing that. So thank you very much. We can't thank y'all enough for giving us your money like you're doing today here in our state. Thank you, Oklahoma. This is great. Got about 30 minutes left in our pregame show here, broadcasting live from the Old Mill Inn. If you're not here, get here. Stop by on your way into the Cotton Bowl. It is a gorgeous morning. Temperatures in the mid-60s. The sun is out. You got a little breeze, too. It is a perfect day for football. Hell, it's just a perfect day to be alive, man. It doesn't get much better than this. Finally, it feels like fall is here, and it's fitting that it happens on Texas OU Saturday. All right, guys, how important is it for Texas to get off to a good start today? I mean, last year, they went 3-and-out on the first drive, but then the next three possessions for the Longhorns all ended up in touchdowns, and this game was 21-0 early in the second quarter, and it just felt like with Oklahoma's lack of quarterback that this game was already over, and OU fans were making their way to the parking lots by the time we got to halftime a season ago. Buck, how important is it for Texas? I know they've played some sluggish first halves this year, and they found ways to win in those games, but do you feel like it's important for them to get off to a good start today?
Well, I'm looking for the Texas defense to get off to a good, quick start. I mean, the last couple of games has been the opposing offenses having their way in that first quarter. That's the one I'm looking for. I think the Texas offense will get off to a good start. I have no doubts that they're going to try to establish the run game, which they will be able to do against this Oklahoma defense. But it's the defense I worry about more than anything. I don't want to give Dylan Gabriel any hope early in the football game. I don't want to give up three, four first downs and let him drive down the field, whether they kick a field goal or not, or even if they punt the ball. I just don't want to give up anything on defense. And lately, the defense has been the ones that have started out slow to me. I've got to see a better start from the defense. I expect offensively they will get off to a good start.
I'm going to strike a similar tone as I did with one of Bucky's three keys, BK. It's not important that the offense gets off to a quick start. You know how I know that? Because the offense hasn't gotten to a quick start numerous games this year, but they still end up winning said games. So would I like to see it? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? Yes. But it's not the end of the world if the offense isn't clicking from the get-go, because this is a gritty, resilient football team. And even if things aren't going well for them at a point in time, offensively or defensively, they will eventually figure it out. I am confident about this team. It's a reason why I've been saying since Alabama that this team is a national championship contender, a national championship winner when it's all said and done. This is a wide open year in college football. Texas may be as balanced a team as exists in college football right now.
National championship winner.
I'm just trying to get to the Big 12 championship. You're already jumped into the big one.
We've already won that.
Oh, really?
2-0 in Big 12 play, and you're calling it over, huh?
That's right.
I love the confidence right there. I'm also terrified of the confidence there. Hey, Brock, my texts aren't going through. Put some koozies on the table, man. Do your job over there. Stop drinking beer. You're on the clock. Come on now. What's going on over there, bud?
That's my fault. I had him go get me a beer.
Oh. You didn't have him get me one?
This is your beer now.
That's still mine.
That's your beer now.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
No, here, take it. It's yours. That thing cost you $15.
Of course it did.
I'm not taking that from you.
This really is $9. $9 beer.
Is the State Fair ever going to get rid of the coupon bit? I mean, we're right by one of the coupon stands, which I guess is great for us because a lot of people are listening to us, probably against their will. But can we just pay with card? Like everywhere else in the world, you just pay with credit card. Why can we get rid of the fair bit, like this part of the fair bit, and just pay with credit cards so we don't have to wait in line for coupons before we wait in line for food and beer?
Sorry for firing a shot here, State Fair, but that paying by card makes it harder to launder money, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Makes it harder to not pay taxes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's something about why they do it that way.
You're supposed to pay those? That's optional, right? The taxes?
It depends.
Like I saw Shakira not pay her taxes, so that's good. She got away with it.
Her lack of tax paying doesn't lie, does it?
I think that's the song. I think that's what you're looking for. Oh, man, love that. All right, I guess we can go. We have to do a scoreboard update because this is our first 11 a.m. game of the season. There are no scores to talk about right now.
9 o'clock games.
But we can't talk about some of the other games going on across college football as we get into the last 30 minutes of our Texas Sports Unfiltered pregame show. What about the game in Aggieland today, fellas? Alabama in College Station taking on Texas A&M, a 2:30 kick. Bama just a 2-point favorite. Rumors about Jalen Milroe maybe dealing with a little bit of a hamstring injury. And, boy, if you watched either of the other Alabama quarterbacks play this season, you're hoping and praying, if you're a Crimson Tide fan, that Milroe is able to suit up today. But what's the confidence level? What are we thinking in College Station today? Does Jimbo find a way to beat Nick Saban again?
I think so. I think the Aggies find a way to beat them at home today. I really do. The Aggies been playing really – people talk about the backup quarterback in Johnson. That Aggie defense is really playing. That's who's been playing lately, is their defense is alive and well right now, and I think they'll handle Alabama. I hate that to happen in the same year that Texas would beat Alabama.
That would take a little bit of the steam away from Texas' win, wouldn't it? I mean, it's still an impressive win, and Texas got the win in Tuscaloosa, whereas A&M would get it at home. But
I think they win today. I do.
Taking the Aggies.
Yeah, and Jimbo is going to probably get out on the field and make a tackle today.
He tried against Auburn.
Yeah, that was a bad effort. He'll give a better effort today.
Yeah. Max Johnson has been solid. And look, even if Milroe is dealing with a hamstring injury, which obviously takes away his biggest weapon as a quarterback, he has been better these last couple of weeks of going through his progressions when his offensive line has allowed him the time to do so. So it's important for this A&M defense. You talked about the A&M defense being a disruptive force, Buck. We're putting the sort of pressure on Milroe that we saw Texas do, because he's not going to be able to bail himself out nearly as easily by getting upfield and picking up yardage with his feet.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Once again, 2:30 Alabama at Texas A&M.
What's your pick on that one?
Taking Bama.
Okay.
I just always bet on Bama.
Yeah. It's just not gonna bet
like betting on Belichick in his heyday.
Yeah. That's just how I operate right now. But, yeah, that Aggie defense, I mean, they got picked apart by Tyler Van Dyke and Miami. There's the horns down right there. It's all the kids.
Thank you.
The kids are talking the trash today from Oklahoma. None of the adults, none of the college students are even giving us the horns down today. I think they're worried about the 15-yard penalties, I guess.
Yeah. There's a horns down.
There you go.
Thank you.
Come on now. We need it. Horns up, though. We prefer that. We definitely prefer that. That defense for A&M since that Miami game has changed. There we go. OU fan. He's got a water in his hand already. It's 10 o'clock. What are you doing?
The Michelob Ultra is also water, sir.
They're not used to real beer up there, I guess, in Oklahoma, so they got to pace themselves a little bit. There's the horns. You're almost there.
Oh, man.
You're doing like the Spider-Man web down instead of the horns down, but we'll take it.
I think that 6-year-old kid just got a hand cramp trying the horns down. It serves you right, kid.
The youngest kid to get carpal tunnel ever. Oh,
gosh.
Hold on. We need you behind. We need you in our camera shot.
I am terrified right now.
We've got
I've seen that before.
It's like the opposite of Kyler Murray's like a tiny adult. This is a huge baby that we have here. We've got the anti-Kyler Murray, a Texas fan wearing a baby shirt. Till Gabriel blows this horn is the sign that we see.
Yes, please bring that
I like
over,
that.
too.
There's a baby. I don't know how that baby's talking. I'm terrified right now that baby's over here with us
bad
here at the Old Mill Inn. It's tough to smile and talk and take pictures at the same time, but we're happy to.
So Gabriel blows this horn. Well, hopefully Gabriel is not blowing a baby. That would not be good. That would be a very bad thing.
No, nobody needs that at all. That's
going to get censored up by ABC.
They have X-rated football today.
Yes.
What's going on here at the State Fair of Texas? Good signs, and the crying baby. That's awesome with OU sucks written across the forehead. You never know what you're going to see at this place, man. This is the Mardi Gras of the state of Texas. The people watching here is absolutely spectacular. And, yeah, there's just a different buzz on this day, man. The state fair is always cool. Texas games are always cool. I'm sure Oklahoma games are always cool. But when you combine all of this together, it makes for one of, if not my very favorite days of the year. And hell, when Texas wins, it's obviously a whole heck of a lot better.
And I hope we get an opportunity to meet them again at the end of the football season. For a championship. I want that very badly. I want that. I mean, I had an opportunity to be a part of the first Big 12 championship. And I'll tell you what, to leave this conference with a championship and have Texas play Oklahoma would be special. It really, really would.
Okay, more of the people watching thing. I mean, you're right. Yes, it would be. But we've seen Bo Nix posters all over Dallas the last couple of days. I just saw an ACC sign like that. Are we going to that conference next year?
No.
Who?
That conference
Maybe Tech is going there.
No, they don't want Texas Tech right now. I don't even think the American wants Texas Tech right now. Boo, are you a Tech fan? Oh, you're at the wrong game.
Boy.
You should be in Waco right now, watching the battle for 10th place in the Big 12. Someone's got to be in 10th between Tech and Baylor. Someone's got to get to 500 today. Come on now. The big boys are playing here.
Why are Tech fans here?
I don't know. They're not very smart in Lubbock. They might have got lost on the way. They were supposed to go to Waco. They ended up here in Dallas. Who knows?
Maybe she got lucky and married into this.
Yeah. Just kind of neutral colors, too. I wasn't sure who she was rooting for in this game.
Yeah, she went slightly orange. You can tell she can't go full burnt orange.
Yes,
I don't blame you if you're a Texas Tech fan for not wanting to wear a full burnt orange, but that is the color of the day.
Yep, absolutely. All right, some other scores to get to on our scoreboard updates brought to you by our friends at Moonshine, Patio, Bar, and Grill. Look, Texas is number 3 right now. I don't think unless Georgia or Michigan loses, Texas is going to move up in the AP poll. So we'll talk about those games. Georgia plays Kentucky this week. Kentucky is 5-0, yes, in football. The game is in Athens. Georgia's a 2-touchdown favorite, but Georgia's played 2 SEC games this year, fellas. They've trailed at halftime in both of those games. Kentucky just beat the crap out of Florida last week. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now. Any chance we could see the number 1 team in the land go down today?
I don't think so. I think there'll be a really good football game. Kentucky will give the other Stoops will give them a good game today.
Yeah,
I think they will, whether it's on the
Drake?
road or at home.
Drake's not coaching yet. I'm sure he'll be coaching somewhere.
But that'll be a good game. That'll be a good football game. And it's in Athens, correct?
In Athens.
They'll still give them a good game. That's a 14-point line, and that's an awful lot of points. Give up to a good Kentucky, and especially a good Kentucky run game right now, which I think may have the best running back in the country. Kid Walker right now may be the best.
Trey? Better than Brooks, huh?
Right now, yes.
I think Kentucky covers. I think Georgia still wins the game, though, and this is really their last big test of the season. So Georgia wins this game, then they are probably making it to the college football playoff by default. Even if they lose the SEC championship game, it's still their first loss, and they will ultimately end up as one of the 4 teams.
This is their last tough game?
I believe so.
They play Tennessee. That's not tough. It's tougher than Kentucky.
Florida. I mean, if we're going based on who beat who, then Kentucky beat Florida, which beat Tennessee.
They got to play Mizzou. Yeah, I'm trying
to Missouri's ranked right now based on a win over a Kansas State team that just lost to Oklahoma State.
Did you see what Kirby Smart said this week? He said like every SEC team would make a bowl game if they were in any other conference. That's hyping up the conference too much to try to make his schedule look better.
That's just not true, Kirby Smart.
No, it's just not true at all. What about Michigan at Minnesota? Anything to talk about there?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
My sleeper.
Yeah, your sleeper, the number 2 team in the country, the Michigan Wolverines. One more game here because there's not a ton on the slate. It's why College Game Day is here. It's why there's so much buzz surrounding this matchup, and more than normal. Notre Dame at Louisville. We care.
Louisville's undefeated. Right?
I really do not care about this game.
No.
I talked with Kevin about it a little bit earlier this week, and he's like, yeah, Louisville is kind of like Oklahoma right now, that they're 5-0, but you're not sure what to make of them because they haven't played great competition. But it is another ranked matchup for Notre Dame to slog out a victory despite a pretty boring offense.
Notre Dame has won 30 straight games over ACC opponents. Louisville is searching for its first 6-0 start.
Make that 31.
Since Charlie Strong was the coach. Yeah, not so much. Shout out to our friends at Moonshine Patio Bar and Grill for sponsoring our scoreboard updates. Get out there. A couple locations, one in Avery Ranch and then the one downtown. Phenomenal weekend brunch. If you're here in Dallas, you're making the trip back tonight or in
Oh,
the
yeah.
morning, stop by Moonshine Patio and get some of that weekend brunch. Or if you're just looking for a phenomenal dinner, go to Moonshine Patio Bar and Grill. They will not let you down. All right, about 20 minutes left here, fellas, in our pregame show live from the Old Mill Inn at the State Fair
Starting
of
to warm
Texas.
up a little bit.
Starting to warm up a little bit, absolutely. More thoughts on this game? I feel like we haven't spent a ton of time talking about the Texas defense today. Any fear that this is the day where Oklahoma learns how to run the football?
As I said earlier, I don't think so. I don't think this is too late into your season, and you're going against too much of a defense to get your run game going today. If you didn't have it going against those teams that you played earlier in the season, BK, it's not going to happen now.
I know we always say, like, throw out the stats, throw out the
No.
records, throw out anything that happens before Texas OU
And
every
I just
year.
threw off my championship ring onto the ground.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's what fell. I can't
Oh, here
play.
it is.
I have to disrupt what we're doing in order to get that because I'm the guy who loses these.
Yeah, how many of those have you lost? You lost
I
your
brought the Big 12 championship ring.
You didn't lose that in the divorce?
No. That was a part of me throwing my hand down. The first one I threw it, and I said, you know what, I think my skinny little fingers, I think it's in the trash can, and it was in the trash can. I did get that one. The next one I was actually changing into golf shoes, and the ring disappeared somewhere, and no one returned the ring.
Yikes.
Well, it does help you get out of tickets after all.
Yes, it does.
Hey, can I have some of that cotton candy?
No.
Please? We root for the same
Heck
team. I'm
no.
a Texas fan. She's like, yeah, that cost my parents $15. There's no way. There's no way
She's
we're
not
giving
giving up
that
any
up.
of that. No.
Good for you for recognizing a predator when you hear that.
Okay. Yeah, the good news is only 250,000 people heard that comment.
Danger.
Oh, my God. I'm so glad they don't play this game in November, so I don't have the creepy pedo stash that I grow for November every year. Could you imagine?
Stranger
Seriously.
danger. I love it.
They wouldn't let me in to this game here. Yeah, there's the horns down.
He put the horns up at first, though.
That's my favorite. When OU fans
Way to
do that,
go.
they start with the horns up as if we think they're going to keep their horns up the whole time.
Yeah.
That's that OU education coming into play right there. And then they flip it as if that makes it more hurtful. Like, oh yeah, we like you. Nah, psych, we don't like you. We actually hate you. They're everywhere, man. Shout out to OU fans. It was fun walking around downtown Dallas, interacting
They
with
were
those.
everywhere, weren't they?
Yeah, I think I saw a combined like 22 teeth. I saw about 150 OU fans, but there are 22 teeth, I think, total in downtown Dallas last night. Trey, what about you, man? I mean, this is throw the records out, throw the stat sheet out, whatever. But, God, like I can't help but be confident in this Texas run defense, and I can't help but feel that Oklahoma is still going to continue running the football if they try to run it the way that they have through 5 weeks.
Yeah, the fact that they are already starting out as a little bit one-dimensional plays into what is one of the best defenses in the country. And if there is a biggest reason why you will hear me speaking optimistically and confidently about what this team can accomplish the rest of the year, it starts on the defensive side of the ball. Yep. These guys all play for one another. They understand what the responsibilities are. And when a mistake happens, guys, corrections are made immediately. You see guys pulled out of the game and not put in that situation again, or you see something different done schematically to keep that hole or to close that hole up, rather.
Yeah.
So while they do give up the occasional big play, that's just football at times. We may see one of those today out of Dylan Gabriel. He is an accurate downfield passer after all. But I expect Texas to make the adjustment and to bounce back very quickly, even if they give something up. Probably not on the ground, probably through the air, but even on the ground, if something were to happen, it will not happen again.
Yeah, you got to take away the
I
deep
agree with
shots.
you, Trey, on that. They've done a good job of coaching this football team. We don't say enough about the coaches, but the secondary has been coached pretty well. They'll get a guy loose every once in a while, you know, at a weird time of the game, but it really hasn't hurt them when these things happen. This is not the game to let that happen early and gather momentum. Either in the run game, they're going to try to do it. Everybody tries to run the ball against Texas because they want to know if the Texas Longhorns, no matter how good your defense is, are they truly in it for a 4-quarter battle against our run? Well, this Oklahoma team, they don't have a run game. They haven't found one. I mean, we're in the middle of the season. They're still looking to see who their starting back is going to be.
Yeah.
Their most dynamic runner is their quarterback.
I don't know who their starting running back is going to be today. Like,
Right.
they've just been rotating dudes throughout the first 5 games, and I expect Marcus Major to get a lot, Tawi Walker maybe, but they've got Salchuk, they've got Barnes.
Sure.
Like, it just feels like every week Oklahoma's trying. It's not like they're not trying. They're trying to find somebody who can make that ground game effective. I think a lot of it has to do with the O-line.
There's Boomer Sooner.
But, it just hasn't worked for them. So I think they're going to have to get creative if they do want to run the football.
Well, the creative part of it is their quarterback will make that matter because he's going to be taken off. I mean, there are going to be times with him where he just absolutely just decides that he's going to run with the football. He's not going to take the chance in throwing it down the field. He wants to keep the chains moving. He wants to keep the Texas offense on the sideline.
Yep.
I feel the same way about Texas. That's why I think the run game will be important for Texas today is they need to keep OU's offense on the sideline. I mean, methodical drives, as I said, I don't mind them in this particular game. I don't mind those 7-minute drives that get you touchdowns. I don't like the 7-minute drives that get you your guy having to go out there and try to kick a field goal.
Yeah.
7-minute drives are fine. 6-minute drives. 8 minutes are the optimal. That's the one. That's the one I love to see. The 8-minute drive where you score a touchdown and you keep the opposing offense on the side. That's fine with me. I mean, it doesn't have to be. This team, if they score in the 30s today, is just fine. This doesn't need to be a 40 burger. It needs to be a good hard 30.
So outside of Dylan Gabriel, who on the Oklahoma offense scares you? I mean, Gabriel, I think, without question, is OU's best offensive player right now. But
there one receiver that the consistent kid doesn't catch a lot of touchdown passes.
Angelo Anthony?
No.
Farouk
Anderson.
Farouk. Okay.
Farouk is the guy who seems to get open.
Yeah.
He's kind of the go-to guy for them. Now, I don't know if he's a big play guy, but he's the most consistent play guy.
Nick Anderson's the big play guy. He's
right.
got 10 catches. 5 of them have gone for touchdowns.
Yes.
He's averaging almost 28 yards a catch. So talking about the deep shots that Texas has been prone to giving up this year, Oklahoma's got a guy who's been prone to making those happen for them.
Right. Nick Anderson's probably the guy for me for that reason because we have seen the Texas secondary. They give up that sliver down the field, and quarterbacks have not connected consistently with the receivers in that situation. That's a tough ball to hit, but Dylan Gabriel is good at those throws, also the over the middle of the field throws too. So, Nick Anderson's probably the second biggest concern on offense, but it's not that big of a concern.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Okay. What about the defense? Anybody on Oklahoma's defense that, Stutzman feels like the obvious pick.
Yeah.
That guy's their leading tackler. I think he's got more than twice as many tackles as any other player on that OU defense right now.
Now, it's a great day for him. This is a great weather for him to be in because they want him in for a lot of plays.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that guy's not coming off the field. Man.
No, but he is going to go bone on bone with these running backs, and that's going to be a lot on him. This is not Tulsa's running backs. This is a different breed of running backs that he's going to go against. And that physical contact that he's going to have, he's a big guy. He's a strong physical, and he's a boundary-to-boundary guy. He's going to run all day long. I mean, he's going to be like that 12-point deer looking just sideline to sideline. He'll do it, but he'll need a blow too because there's going to be a lot of contact with him and the running backs today.
How about the Bow Bros for the Oklahoma defense? That would be Peyton Bowen, the true freshman, and Billy Bowman. Both guys operate in the secondary. Both have big play capability. Both dudes. I don't know if they're destined to play on Sundays in the future, but they are two of the better players in that Oklahoma secondary, which is improved, guys.
Yeah, Billy Bowman, the one-time Texas commit, and then
That's right.
Peyton Bowen, the one-time every school in the country commit. That guy had a wild recruitment
yes, he did.
until like the last few days this year. He was, I think, an Oregon commit. Maybe that's why we keep seeing all those Bo Nix signs. They're trying to recruit Peyton Bowen back up there to Eugene. But, those two guys are good players. I think OU's corners are pretty solid. I do want to see what Gentry Williams has. He's developed into a really good number 2 corner for them on the outside. Once again, you take every stat with a grain of salt when you're talking about Oklahoma because of the competition that they've gone up against. But I think he's good. And then Woody Williams, the number 1 corner on the other side. Those are going to be fun matchups, right? Like OU, their roster is not where it was in the prime Bob Stoops days. The roster is not where it was during the prime Lincoln Riley days. But this is still a really, really talented roster.
And they will be better than they were last year.
You look at the blue chip ratio, which, it's recruiting rankings. We as Texas fans sadly know that those don't always mean jack, you know what. But Oklahoma has a higher blue chip ratio than Texas does.
Yes, they do.
So in terms of recruiting rankings, the OU roster is actually more talented than the Texas roster. Now, I think Texas is better. I think the talent's more developed. I think they've got a better coaching staff. Like, I feel good about Texas winning this game today. But don't get it twisted. Like, OU has the horses in the barn to not only make this a close game, but find a way to win today, too.
Yes, they do. Oklahoma has been terrible in their secondary for the better part of a half-decade plus now.
Yeah.
That is starting to turn around, and that is obviously the direct result of Brent Venables being the head coach of this football team. You wonder, though, if he gets a little bit too focused on the defensive side of the ball. Bucky, I think it's you that brought this up yesterday. he sometimes will leave the sidelines to go talk to his defense. You as a head coach have to be dialed in with everything that's happening during the game, including on offense too. So you wonder if that maybe takes away from the Oklahoma offense at some point, but he definitely has the defense going in a better direction than they were over the last few years.
Well, he lets his offensive coordinator handle all that offensive stuff.
I get it, but you're still the head coach, though. You have to know what is going on in the game.
Well, he's going to go where he feels comfortable, and he feels comfortable being around the defense. Remember, year number 2, so still year number 2. He understands that.
Maybe needs to be a defensive coordinator then.
Well, Baylor has 2 offensive coordinators. Oklahoma has 2 offensive coordinators. One of them coached at Baylor. One of them is Art Briles.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not forget he's a part of the OU coaching
Father-in-law.
staff now, apparently, too.
It's his grandkids. Come on now.
Nah, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. It still doesn't work for you.
I'll tell you what, I really do not want to see Art Briles on the OU sideline, because if that's the case, I might be a little bit more nervous about this game today.
No question. I wonder if he's going to be in the stands today. He does live in the area. He does have family on the Oklahoma sidelines.
Are they going to let him? I guess he can't be wearing any more team-issued gear, right? That's the issue.
That can't happen.
What, sponsorship? What do we have here? Tickets?
There it is, Dr.
Fried
Danny.
fire.
Dr.
This is
Danny
the fried
is
fireball
here.
shot.
Oh, I was about to complain that we've been broadcasting for 2 hours and no one's brought us a fried fireball shot yet. But is that right? Oh my gosh, what's fried about that? It looks like
It's a piece of bread in there.
It looks like
What is in here?
A piece of bread.
Is this funnel cake that's in here?
It's a club cracker inside a fireball. A
French toast stick.
That's what makes it fried.
You want to try this?
If I try it, I'm down in the whole thing.
Go for it.
How do I eat this? Do I take the French toast out?
Take the French toast in your tongue.
It's like the worm, right?
Is this the chaser? Is the French toast the chaser? Put the French toast in your mouth.
Stick it in your mouth.
No.
Put it like a fire hose in your mouth.
Under your tongue.
I'm not Brent Venables. I'm not inserting fire hoses and blowing and going all the time. It's not my thing.
We're just blowing and going.
Brent Venables choking on fireball.
That stays north of the Red River. Here we go. We got some OU fans.
There we go.
Congrats on being a future Sooner. That's a huge accomplishment, man. That is one of the top 200 schools in our country.
Slightly above graduating kindergarten.
I don't know. I think kindergarten might be a little bit more than that.
Depends on the coloring.
All right, y'all talk here. Let me down this thing.
Go ahead, get after a little bit.
All right, French toast stick with the fireball shot. Okay. You took a bite. Yeah, why would you just take a bite? You stick it on your tongue. You stick the whole thing in your mouth. Oh, you're using the French toast stick as a chaser. How was the fried fireball shot, BK?
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
It didn't look good.
Like,
I was happy to pass that off to you.
No, bad.
Boy, am I glad I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
Like the fireball shot by itself would have been way better. I mean, the French toast is soaked. It's like it's gross. It just like melts in your mouth, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
I'm clearly still chewing it. I can't get rid of it. Do not recommend.
Okay.
Disappointed, but grateful for whoever brought us that fried
and
fireball
bring
shot.
another one.
Yeah, I'll take 10 more. Actually, while you're at it, that might cost you $150. But
I need to find some fried pho. That's the big winner this year, and it's the one that I've been told by multiple people is actually as good as advertised.
Oh yeah, do we know where that is? Where do they keep the award winners?
I need to grab. It's all over the place. I need to grab one of the state fair maps because they let you know where the state fair winners are in terms of the food awards, all over the fairgrounds.
There we go. All right, gentlemen, we've got about 5 minutes left in our Texas Sports Unfiltered pregame show. Come get a koozie if you don't have a koozie, by the way, and make sure you subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Make sure you download the free Texas Sports Unfiltered app. Everybody except Michigan fans gets koozies today.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a new
There's
rule.
my sleeper team.
A new rule that I have decided to implement here for no reason whatsoever.
You just don't want my sleeper team to win.
Yeah, I guess Michigan and Minnesota are playing at 2:30 at the Cotton Bowl or something. I can't quite figure out why we got a Wolverines.
Texas Tech fans are here. Michigan fans are here.
We got Bo Nix posters all over the place. What is going on? All right, our score predictions brought to you by our friends at Paul's Motorworks. Love the folks at Paul's right there, 2222 and 620. It's where I go to get the oil changed in my car. But, hey, if you've got a nicer vehicle, they specialize in.
And you do have a nicer vehicle than BK's, except for the one he's driving right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Appreciate that. Thank you for taking a shot at my Nissan Altima. Okay. But if something is wrong, if you drive a Mercedes or a BMW or an Audi or a Porsche, a car like that, something's wrong with it, take it to Paul's, man. It's hard to find a trustworthy car mechanic. Paul is a great dude, UT fan, been in business since, I think, 1999.
Oh, yeah.
Great staff, too. Paul's Motorworks. Definitely go check them out. Look them up online at pmwaustin.com. texassportsunfiltered.com. Trey, I will go to you first. Your score prediction for the 118th Red River Shootout.
Confident Texas wins this one somewhere in the 10 to 14 point range. I think the offense does get it going early. Even if they are not completing drives, they stall it in the red zone. They will wear that Sooners defense down.
Yep.
I also think that the Texas defense continues to be the rock-solid unit that we've come to expect this year. Ultimately, Texas wins by 10 to 14. Give me a 34 to 20 final score.
All right, 34 to 20 is Trey's scoreboard prediction. Buck, what say you?
I'm going to take Texas 30, OU 21. I think OU will find a way to score some points in this football game. I mean, their schedule will come into play, and the teams that they've played so far will come in. I don't think they get past 30, but I do think they get 21. That won't be enough. I think Texas will dominate the run game and put this thing away in the fourth quarter. So I'm just going to go to slightly above the line at 30-21.
Okay, so a Texas win and
Yes.
a Texas cover for both of you guys. I agree. I'm taking Texas 45 to 31. I think we get some points today.
There you go.
I really do.
Beautiful day for it.
Most people might be surprised by that, right? Considering how good Texas's defense has been this season. The most they've given up in a game is 24. That was obviously the game at Alabama. But I don't know, man. I like Dylan Gabriel. I like these OU receivers. I think they're going to be able to have some success through the air against Texas. But I just think Texas has too much firepower offensively. I think Jonathan Brooks has another really, really good day. And I think we see big game Quinn. I mean, that's a real thing. Like it's
Yes.
You want Quinn Ewers to be consistent and be a great performer week in and week out. And we're starting to see more of that this year than we saw last year. But we know, man, every time the lights have been the brightest, he has shown the most. And I think we see more of that today. I think we get a big-time day from Quinn Ewers. I think he goes over 300 yards. I think he goes for 4 touchdowns. And I think Texas finds another win. The first 2-game win streak over Oklahoma since 08-09.
Jonathan Brooks go over 100 today?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if Texas is going to get 45, I mean, it's going to have to be – I don't know if they need like the 660 yards of offense like they had against Kansas last week, but they're going to have to go for probably 500 plus. And I know the OU defense statistically has been great, but this ain't Emory Jones that they're going up against.
Yeah.
This ain't Iowa State's 4th-string running back, the one kid who didn't bet on all the overs that they're going up against. This ain't Tulsa. This ain't Arkansas State. So I just think Texas is going to be able to get what
I would
it
agree.
wants.
I think the schedule will come into play.
I do too. So hopefully we're right. Of course, we're all picking Texas. We're all picking the Longhorns to cover. Trey, you're walking into the stadium right after this?
I'm going to help break down a little bit, but yes, then I'm walking into the stadium.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you what's the best way to get in, but I don't want the people walking by to hear us.
Oh, it's easy. You walk around the backside of Big Tex.
Send them the wrong way. Hold on. Tell everybody else something different.
Take a look up at his flat ass. Big Tex has the flattest ass in the state of Texas.
I'll tell you
as
what.
well as the biggest cowboy boots.
Yeah, you would think a guy of that size would be able to fill out those jeans a little bit more, but it's underwhelming. He must have left his ass at home.
He's got a Hank Hill ass.
Yeah.
Big Tex does.
Yes, he
But
does.
you walk around the backside of Big Tex, and rather than going down the main way to get to that front entrance, you keep going to there's a little walkway that'll take you to the side of the stadium, essentially the south end zone area, which
We're
is
giving up
closest to us
secrets.
right now.
Yeah.
There are exits all along there. You can go right or you can go left. Typically, there are much easier routes to get in versus waiting in that long line at the front of the stadium.
I like that. Okay. And Buck, where are you watching this game today?
I'll be at home by the third quarter.
You're the only person leaving the state fair right now.
Yeah, well, everybody's coming in. Buck's going out.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I think intern Brock's had 45-7 yesterday as the scoreboard prediction, so thinks this one will be a little bit closer. All right. I think that's going to do it. Sorry I didn't check the text line that much to all of you who texted in. Sorry,
But thank you, though.
we didn't check the
appreciate
YouTube
that.
comments line. The Clean Cause YouTube comments line should give them some love.
50% of their profits go to help people with addictions.
Absolutely.
I love that place.
And
I love what they do.
one final shout out to our travel partners. We'll give them some love, of course, on Monday as well. But
Oh, yeah, for
Austin
sure.
Duck Adventures.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you get on one of those duck boat tours in Austin and Hayes City Store as well. What's up, Spencer? Hayes City Store as well. The best burgers that you
Comanche
can find
Concrete also.
all throughout Central Texas. And yes, Comanche Concrete. Thanks to them.
Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you.
For allowing us to be here in Dallas. Boots on the ground. You know, there are some other pregame shows that couldn't get up to Dallas. I don't know why.
We go to the big events. We're going to the big events.
I guess you have to pay your rent to be able to make your.
Oh, you don't put rent on layaway. You can't put rent on layaway. Remember that.
No.
You don't do that.
Shots fired.
No, that was just a generic statement, not a shot at anybody.
But you just don't. I don't think you're allowed to do that.
No.
They don't. You can't. You can put a leather jacket on there,
Yeah,
but you can't put rent on layaway. They just don't. They don't allow you to do that.
you can't do that. You can't do
No.
that. All right, that's going to do it for the Texas Sports Unfiltered pre-game show. Thank y'all so much for listening. Everybody who made their way to the fair today, we really appreciate y'all stopping by. And of course, thanks to all of you at home.
And thanks to the old
for
mill.
tuning in.
How about that?
And of course, thanks to the great folks at the State Fair for having us out today. Here's to a Texas win. Kevin and Zay will be on post game immediately after the game is over. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video if you haven't yet. That is going to do it for us, for intern Brock, for Bucky Godbolt, for Trey Elling, for Mike Hardge, for all of us at Texas Sports Unfiltered. I am BK signing off. Y'all have a good one. And hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em.
And OU sucks.
Oh, you still sucks.
Don't forget about